you say something so I can make sure it's recording properly.
So I can make sure it's recording properly.
Alright. And then Sony Vegas.
Vegas.
Yes. Is it live? The live
Let
stream?
me just refresh this.
Okay, yeah, I see it.
Yes. With the nice thumbnail.
Yeah.
What is that from? How did you get that thumbnail?
It was when Breath of the Wild was data mined. That was one of the random images that Nintendo had put in the game that was not used anywhere.
That's so weird. Why is he in that pose, you know?
I guess like someone at
why
Nintendo
is Zelda like, what you doing?
Who had access to the master file was just a fan of anime or something.
Goofing off.
Alright. Switches, normalize.
Excellent. Alright, I've plugged us on Discord.
You say something so I can make sure it's recording properly.
So I can make sure it's recording. And
okay.
We've already got Losing Lemo in the chat.
Nice.
I don't know if I'm saying it right. I always worry. I'm not sure if it's Losing Lemo or Losing Lemo.
Everyone, is Daniel and our voices similar volume?
Is it?
Yeah. If you can hear both
of
us, we can continue.
When I whisper like that, it's really bad to gauge it. Lemo. It is Lemo. Thank you. Losing Lemo.
Like a Nemo.
Like a Nemo. Thank you for clearing that up. Because I'm always, every time I say it, I'm like, am I saying it right?
Yeah. No place for a boy. Alright, well actually, hold on 2 seconds.
Okay.
And I will return.
He's gone now, friends.
Yeah, I'm gonna make you full screen so you can interact with the chat until I return.
Alright.
So you're like super duper widescreen right now.
I'm a wide boy.
Yeah. Alright. This will take 10 seconds probably. So everyone tell us if our audio is the same level.
Yes. Enlighten us to the audio. Please. Forehead.
Don't you like my forehead?
Well, friends, welcome to the pre-show, where we haven't actually started the podcast yet, but we're already streaming. I don't know. We were going to go over a little bit of news. This is not really news, but I'm going to tell you right now. Apparently in Japan, the Octo expansion for Splatoon 2, you can buy a physical download card for it instead of buying it off the eShop, which just seems really weird that you do that for an expansion, because it's not 2001 anymore. So it just makes me think of, there's a bunch of old games, like you get those Morrowind expansions and stuff that you would, or there's a game I used to play, Neverwinter Nights, pretty much a D&D game. And the expansions, you'd get CDs for them, but we're a little past that, technologically speaking. That's all I got. They did that for Breath of the Wild. Did they? I didn't know that. So far I've only seen it available in Japan, not here though. So did they do that here for Breath of the Wild too? And why would anyone purchase that? Doesn't make sense. Oh well, we have got some other news too, but we'll actually wait for Jesse before going over that. Uh-oh. Is it buffering? I have them. You have them. Game Record, where are you that you have them? Oh no. I don't know if it's my connection or if it's the stream being weird, but it's not loading for me. It's probably my internet. Oh, I'm gonna refresh it. Just as a heads up, everybody, this is the least prepared for a podcast we've been since pretty much the first episode.
So it still says God of War.
Oh, you're back.
It still says God of War.
No!
Did not realize that.
I think my computer's being
A bunghole?
a Did you say bunghole?
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. That's what it's being. Nothing's loading now. No. I don't know if if I'm freezing up on your end.
No, you're not.
Oh, good. Everything's freezing up on my end.
Alright, so I guess I have to end this. Zelda and Nintendo news.
God of War PS4 stream. Yeah.
Podcast. Alright, everybody, we're going to end this and start it back so it pops up for everyone saying Nintendo news.
It's not actually God of War, sorry.
Yeah. To do with God of War.
It has nothing to do with that.
Alright. Hylian Gamescast episode 28, I believe.
Oh,
Alright.
no.
So, yeah, someone commented and said we had like 3 episode 26s, so it might be episode 30.
It could be. We don't know anymore.
Yeah. Alright, so we are finally able to start. Are you ready, Mr. Daniel?
Yes. I am ready.
So, do you know your last name? It ends with son. Do you know the origins of last names that end with son?
Like that literally you were the son of that person.
Yeah, so like a long time ago, you were, like, one of your people was named Fergus, or Ferga, or something.
Oh.
Yeah, just like my last name, McCarty. Mick, apparently, whatever Irish, Scottish language that is, also means son of. So a long time ago, someone was named Artie.
And you were the son of Artie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you were Fergus's son, I guess. That's how that works. History lesson, people.
Yes.
I learned that
That's
in
why
eighth grade.
in the Marvel movies, Thor's last name is Odinson.
Yes.
Because
they follow that tradition.
So I think, yes, Hyro Gamer in the chat says, I am Scottish. Me too, Hyro Gamer. Kind of.
Alright, so are we ready?
Kind of. I'm ready. Oh, we've got people from Northern Ireland. We've got people all over the Isles of the UK joining us.
Alright. What's up, everybody? Alright. What's up? No, it's good. I want to make sure the correct microphone.
Okay.
The correct microphone is recording. So we are good. It's doing that stupid thing where it adjusts the volume by itself, and I don't like that. But anyways, I guess we're ready. What's up, everybody? I am Jesse, or Game Over Jesse, as all of you may know me. Here with us on episode 20-something for the Hylian's Gamescast, could be episode 30, is our co-host, Daniel.
Hey!
We
That's me.
are doing this one-on-one today. No co-hosts. Kayla's not here. Miss Click isn't here. Holly Wolf isn't here. RMFH. Everyone is gone. It is just us for the day. We have maybe a quick podcast for you. We have a few pieces of news, starting out with a new management and stuff from Nintendo. Then we're going to be going into answering your questions, which you can submit on our Discord that you can join in the link below. You can comment them below on the video or the Zelda mailbag videos, or you can head over to patreon.com/GameOverJesse, where you can give $1 and guarantee your question to be answered live on the show and become the title of the video as well. So,
your name.
Yeah.
No,
yes.
Your
Daniel,
question.
what is our first piece of news?
Okay. Kimishima, who stepped in as president after the late Satoru Iwata's
Oh, hold
passing.
on. You had a bonus quick piece of news for us.
Oh, the bonus news. I kind of went over the bonus news while you stepped away. I could go over that real quick.
Do so.
The bonus news is not really much newsworthy, but thought I should mention it, that apparently Splatoon 2's Octo expansion, you can get in Japan download cards rather than getting it from the eShop for some reason. I don't know if you would want to do it. Someone in the chat before said that they did that for Breath of the Wild in Japan as well.
Oh, cool.
So, yeah, I guess that's the thing they do there. Not everything is eShop. If you want to save space on your console.
It was odd they had
I'd like to.
They already have 2 editions of Breath of the Wild out. The Explorers edition, which just has different artwork and a book. Literally the same game code, though.
Yeah.
And the normal edition of Breath of the Wild. And it's kind of curious on why they didn't just wait like 2 more months and release like an $80 Breath of the Wild edition with the DLC included.
Yeah, like a Game of the Year edition.
But I guess they could do that next year. And then they can, instead of double dipping, which is what a lot of people do when they release a game, and then the Game of the Year edition, they can triple dip. They can be like, this time it comes with a book about Breath of the Wild's timeline, and everybody will be like, well, I've already bought the game twice, but I need this book.
I need the book, though.
Actually, a lot of people bought it like 3 or 4 times. Like the Collector's Edition, the original game, the Explorer's Edition. Did you get the Collector's Edition?
I've only got just the base game that I got on release date. That's it.
Alright. Take us into our first piece of news, Daniel.
Yes, the real news. The one that's actually worth really discussing. So, after Satoru Iwata passed away, Tatsumi Kimishima came in to fill the role as president and CEO of Nintendo. He was very outright saying that it was going to be a temporary position, but then it's been 3 years now. He's still in the position. Dude is retiring, though, so there's going to be some big management shifts within Nintendo. I should probably mention that the article that I found for this comes from NintendoEverything.com. So,
do we know what he did
good
before
source.
he was president? Was he like vice president? Or?
He was like somewhere, I think, in the business or marketing side of Nintendo. I don't remember exactly what he was doing there, but I know that was kind of he didn't have the background in the development side like Iwata did, more in the business side. Like their president before that, whose name escapes me at this moment. The president before Iwata, but since then, let's see. Since Kimishima will be retiring, Furukawa will be taking over as president and CEO. Now, Furukawa joined Nintendo in 1994, and he worked in global marketing and at the Pokemon Company since 2016. So Furukawa has been Nintendo's managing executive officer, supervisor of corporate analysis and administrative division and director. So, like Kimishima, more of a guy on the business side of Nintendo rather than the development side, unlike Iwata. So which I don't think is bad. You know, keep the developers developing the games and the business folks running the financial side. It makes sense. Though I think Iwata had insights that you wouldn't get from someone who is in business, but that's there's no going back to Iwata, so that's just simply not an option. So, but it'll be interesting. I liked Kimishima. I was skeptical when he stepped into the role of how he was going to perform because he's so different from Iwata. But yeah, he's done a good job so far, I think. So Kimishima will officially step down on June 28th, apparently, and he'll remain at Nintendo as an advisor, but he will be officially retired. So kind of a side gig for him, I guess. I don't know. Almost like going part-time. Mm-hmm. Your thoughts, Jesse?
I'm excited for this. Like, when he took over, a lot of people were like, oh, like he did such a great job, like, bringing out the Nintendo Switch and all this stuff. And they think, like, as soon as a new person comes in charge of the company, that they automatically are responsible for absolutely everything that goes on while they're president, when in reality, like, the Switch probably started development around a year or two after the Wii U launched. Like, as soon as, like, there is an entire team, an entire department who's dedicated to just coming up with whatever the next big console is. Previously, they had the handheld and then the home console team, so they would be working on the 3DS, like, as soon as the DS released, and then they worked on the Wii U a little bit after the Wii released.
Yeah.
And they come up with, like, 5 or 6 ideas, they choose one, and then they fully flesh it out and develop it. And, like, I remember they said something like it took a team like 2 years or something like that just to come up with the right shape of the Wii U controller to make sure it was as comfortable as it could be. Seems like they should have taken even longer to come up with it. But yeah, I remember in the article there was like molds and stuff where they would like sculpt it out of clay, they would sculpt it out of wood to come up with like what it should look like. But anyways, the point that I'm trying to make is with the Nintendo Switch, it wasn't fully Kimishima's plans to bring it out, although he was the one in charge when it did come out. It was something that was started when Iwata was still alive and in charge, but it rolled over to Kimishima. So whatever the next console's coming out, like if they don't do well, a lot of people are going to look at this new guy and be like, well, when Kimishima was in charge, we had the Nintendo Switch. This guy comes out and we have the Wii U too. So it doesn't quite work like that. Whatever is coming out next was likely in like pre-production, or not pre-production, but like early design phases before Kimishima even came in charge. Like as soon as they came up with the final proposal for the Switch, they probably had a small team working on ideas for whatever the next thing would be. So that's all I want to say about it. Is like any bad things that come out just because this new guy is going to be in charge doesn't necessarily make it his fault.
Yeah. And I've seen comments where people are like you've mentioned, how people will assume that the new guy is going to be, Furukawa will be, in charge of everything. So I've seen comments on Facebook, even like comments on the articles and stuff like that, where people are like, okay, well, now that we're having a new president, maybe they'll do this better, or maybe they'll make the next Zelda game like this. And I'm like, he's not in the bullpen with the game developers dictating how they do it. The Zelda team probably just operate like that's not how a company works, man. So honestly, I don't see too much changing overall, because Nintendo will always be Nintendo at heart, and there's so many things in a company that large where they've got boards of directors, shareholders, and so many levels of management that they may all be answering to Kimishima, but that doesn't mean that he makes every decision in the whole company. That's just, he wouldn't have time to do that. There's too much stuff going on at Nintendo. So yes, but sort of tied into that news, while we're on the role of management moving around, obviously when someone leaves, someone else has to fill that role, then someone has to fill that role, and like everyone gets sort of shuffled around, right? So in the midst of all this management shuffle, Shinya Takahashi and Yoshiaki Koizumi are also getting...
It's the Mario guy. And
Mario guy.
It's the Mario guy and the person who's on stage during the Nintendo Switch presentation showing off the ice in the Switch.
Exactly. Yeah, the guy with the Joy-Cons. And like
lazily
he's shaking the ice cubes in them.
He's like, you can play on your couch, you can relax and play. And it was like the most awkward presentation because he was trying to be all casual, but it's like you're in a suit and tie, you're on stage at a Nintendo presentation. It's not quite natural. But I get what they were going for. I like
Koizumi though. He's been with Nintendo for a really long time as well, and he is pretty much, he is what Onuma is to Zelda, he was to Mario Odyssey as well. And like just in that role, and also the influence over the direction that he was wielding. And obviously Takahashi as well, been with Nintendo for a long time. So they are moving up from their current roles as General Manager of Entertainment Planning and Development Division and Senior Managing Executive Officer into Koizumi will be. Oh my goodness, my computer's not letting. It's being so slow. I can't scroll down on the article. So Takahashi will become
third in charge, I believe.
Third in charge of the company. Koizumi will be taking on executive officer role on the board of directors. So they're all getting some nice big fat raises.
The hierarchy in Nintendo is the guy that's taking over Takahashi. No, the guy that's taking over the president position.
Furukawa.
Yeah, is obviously going to be the number one in charge. Number two is Miyamoto, which I think fits him perfect because it means he has almost absolute control in Nintendo, but he's not the one who's making every single executive decision, which leaves him open to worry about creating new ideas and new games, as opposed to... Because you don't want to take someone who is so creative and has so many ideas of coming up with stuff and just make them handle all the business work. You want them to handle half the business, which his business part of it mainly includes teaching new people that are coming up how to take over. Like, he put Aonuma in charge of the Mario, he put Koizuma, I believe, in charge, or he put Aonuma in charge of Zelda, and Koizuma in charge of Mario. He is... I think he had something to do with like bringing the team on of all of the young developers who came up with Splatoon. So he's giving tips and hints, or not hints, but tips and stuff to all these people on how to come up with successful properties, what it means to create a Mario game, what it means to create a Zelda game, and teaching them all of the stuff that he's learned over the 30, 40 years of his development. And then he's also coming up with new ideas, which we've seen. The pack-in game with Star Fox Zero was a new idea that he showed off at E3, and then it became did I say Star Wars? I meant Star Fox. Yeah, and then he had the giant robo game that you would play with the Wii U, but apparently now that turned into the
Labo.
The Labo robot thing. So there's a lot of creative ideas that he has, although none of them are like big AAA games. They're just like little fun ideas. But yeah, I guess we can move on to our next piece of news. So take us to the Nintendo E3 plans. It's the last one on the Skype.
I will once my computer gets me there.
Alright.
It's being
that gives me a couple of minutes
slow.
to promote
the
thing, because I still need to post it on the Twitter and Facebook and stuff.
Okay. My computer's not this slow normally. Usually I have like tons of things going on the... I don't know. Also, RPG in the chat. There's a bit of chatter in the chat about the next console or improving the Switch and stuff. RPG, I think, kind of nails it that if they're going to make improvements to the Switch, getting the new Tegra chipset would be a bigger priority logically rather than trying to push for 4K or an XL console. I wholeheartedly agree, RPG. Just wanted to put that out there while I'm waiting for this thing to load. Okay. Polygon is the source of this article. Nintendo E3 2018 plans highlight Super Smash Bros. For Switch. So, Nintendo revealed the first details about its E3 2018 plans, which largely focus around the intensely anticipated game Super Smash Bros. For Nintendo Switch. The annual E3 Direct presentation will air Tuesday, June the 12th at 9 a.m. Pacific time. That's my time, not your time. Kicking off the event week with a look at several upcoming games. Just as Mario Odyssey was the primary focus of last year's Nintendo Direct, Super Smash Bros. For Switch will receive the most screen time during the presentation. And it talks a bit, Nintendo Treehouse Live will be there doing their usual thing, live streaming probably for like 6 hours.
Which we will be there to see.
Yes, we'll be on the show floor, friends. Jesse and I probably not streaming from the show floor.
Although you will see us on Nintendo's live
Yes.
feed, because between segments they always cut to the showroom floor
Yeah.
where all the fans are playing the games, and sometimes they go around and ask the fans what their opinions are. So we could pop up on Nintendo's E3 feed. Who knows?
Yes. Keep an eye out for us, because that would just be really exciting. That
Yeah.
I would like save that video and just like, even if I'm just in it for a glimpse, I'm like, I was on Nintendo's channel.
Yeah.
I was on their live stream.
And 10 minutes later, Miyamoto was on it. That
Yeah,
means
we
we're
weren't
family.
in the same room, but pretty much we're BFFs.
Yeah. We're going out
yeah,
for
I'm-
pancakes. He might get waffles. Who knows? It's going to be a crazy night.
It'll be crazy. I'm gonna take him for coffee. Teach him all about growing regions. So, I do love my coffee. But yes, so obviously Smash, we had like a couple years ago where Breath of the Wild was the big thing for E3.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
Mario Odyssey this year, it's all about Smash. So
Which
it's
is
exciting.
kind of interesting, because that means they can bring in all
Yeah,
of their
they can have
stuff. They could have,
properties from.
yeah, they could have a big Mario statue, or not Mario, a
They
big
could
Metroid
reuse their-
statue.
Their big Mario and Link statues from previous E3s,
Yeah.
just bring them back.
Yeah, they
and
could.
it wouldn't be out of place.
They could have like big Metroid or Samus statue, like a Star Fox statue, like all these different statues, and it would be a way for them to have statues of everything, while still mainly promoting one game, but also secretly promoting other smaller games separately. Like they could have, like if they had Metroid Prime 4 playable, which they might, probably won't, but if they did, they would have like maybe a giant Samus statue over next to the kiosks where those are, and then they could be like a Pokemon statue of whatever the main character looks like with the little starter Pokemon around him or her, and then that would be over next to those kiosks. They could have like bring back the Link statue and set it next to the Zelda kiosks. Like they have so many different things that they could do.
Yes. I agree. Yeah, no, I'm super every time I think about E3, I get all giddy and excited just because it's my first time going to E3, and I'm just super excited to go there and be able to try out Smash and everything. So that's just so darn diggity exciting. In the chat, RPG again asks Jesse, do you think Amiibo will have a great part in the next Smash? I'm gonna just throw that into our mailbag real quick here, RPG.
Yeah,
So
we can save that for the mailbag.
yes, we will answer it soonish.
Yeah. So what are there any big surprises, which we kind of talked about this a few times, but are there, since we're talking about E3 as an actual subject, are there any surprises that you're looking forward to?
That I'm looking forward to for E3. I'd like to see if they do have new, like I'm a huge Amiibo collector, so if they do have some new Amiibo they're going to show off, like they have in previous years. They had like the display case with the Breath of the Wild Amiibos, and like how they're showing like how they're printed and made as well. I'd love to see something like that at E3. If they do have more Metroid stuff, then yes, I'd love that. Yoshi. We haven't heard anything about Yoshi since January last year, I think it was. So, where's that at?
Yeah.
It's supposed to come out this year. It's already April. We've heard nothing. So, I'm just saying, guys. We got Kirby. They promised us Yoshi and Kirby. We got Kirby.
Yeah, Yoshi, it's coming. Did we get an official title for Yoshi, or is it still just
It's still
Yoshi?
just Yoshi for Switch. Unless I'm like unless I've missed it somewhere.
Yeah.
So yeah, I want to see also what new characters they'll bring to Smash, other than obviously we'll have Breath of the Wild Link. Instead of, or maybe as well as Link normally, but what about you, Jesse?
I'm hoping, because they're going to have the Splatoon 2 World Tournament, and that'll probably end with a big focus on whatever the DLC is going to be, like another trailer or something, and then they're going to cut over to the Smash Brothers Invitational, which hopefully we'll be able to do good enough at to get past the first round, because I plan on trying. I might lose the first round, but who knows?
Practice.
Yeah. See, the thing is, it's mostly going to be like people in the industry, not necessarily fans. So the people who would be just fans of Smash Brothers and like super duper good might not necessarily be there, unless one just happens to have a huge YouTube channel and they can get in, where they pay to get in. But I'm excited for the Smash Brothers thing. I wonder if they're going to have all of the characters in the game that you can see at first, or if they're going to keep the unlockable characters a secret.
Wow, sorry.
And then what else? Like,
yeah.
So last year, after the Nintendo Direct, was when they announced Metroid: Samus Returns. That was the first thing they talked about after the Direct ended on their Nintendo Treehouse. So just because something doesn't pop up during the Treehouse doesn't mean, or doesn't pop up during the Direct, doesn't mean that it's not going to be revealed in the Treehouse. This year, I think this is going to be the last year that they're going to put a heavy focus, or any kind of focus, on the 3DS. So I'm curious to see what kind of like swan song games they come out with on the 3DS. Hopefully, whatever 2DS Zelda game they have in production, they talk about it at E3. I still strongly believe we will get a Zelda game either at the end of this year or early 2019. Whether it's if it's this year, I would imagine an Ocarina of Time HD for the 20th anniversary, like I've said a billion times. If it is early next year, the 2D 3DS Zelda games usually release earlier in the year, like around February, March, whatever. That would be around 2 years after Breath of the Wild released. So that would be long enough a space between Zelda titles, even if this is a 2D. Even though in past years they've always had at least 2 or 3 Zelda games released in the same year, whether it was a 2D, 3D, a remake, or whatever. Yeah. So, like I think in the same year we got Twilight Princess HD and Majora's Mask.
I think so.
3D. And then we had Hyrule Warriors the same year. So if you want to count that, that's like 3 Zelda games, I think.
Yeah.
And then,
ish. Depends how we count Hyrule Warriors.
Yeah, and then the next year's, I think there was Triforce Heroes and Hyrule Warriors Legends. So, like, people think, oh, they only release one Zelda game every 5 years, but, like, if you look at all of the releases for the past 6 years, there's been at least like 2 every single year, whether it's a remake or whatever. Because between Skyward Sword and Breath of the Wild, we had Ocarina of Time 3D, and like this is just on the 3DS. We had Ocarina of Time 3D, which came out a little bit before Skyward Sword. Then we had Majora's Mask 3D, A Link Between Worlds, Triforce Heroes, Hyrule Warriors Legends, and then on the Wii U we had Breath of the Wild, which would be the end of this, and then Hyrule Warriors Legends, Wind Waker HD, Twilight Princess HD. And then all of the other games became available either on the Wii U eShop or the 3DS eShop. So that's like 10 games between, like 10 new games between Skyward Sword and Breath of the Wild, or somewhere around 10 Zelda games, but most of them were remakes or whatever. But we did have Triforce Heroes and whatever. Anyways, so long story, but the point I'm making is a lot of people are saying like, oh, it's going to be another 5 years before the next Zelda game. It's never a full-on 5 years. Like the next big Zelda game may be 5 years, but there's several teams that work on Zelda games. You got Grezzo,
Yes.
possibly Tantalus, which is rumored for Skyward Sword HD. You have like Nintendo's handheld team, if they make a Hyrule Warriors 2, which is likely since the first is so successful. They launched it on 3 separate platforms.
Yep. That was a good sign.
Yeah. But that's all that I have to say about that. Is don't just pay attention to the direct and then log off, because you may miss something exciting. Like I imagine they would have like the first 30 minutes of either Metroid or Pokemon during the Nintendo Treehouse. Like last year, they had 30 minutes of Metroid Samus Returns. So this year, it would be cool if they were like, hey, here's Metroid Prime 4. Or, even better, depending on how you look at this, what if they hold off on the gameplay of Metroid Prime 4 and it's like, that is releasing mid-summer next year. So mid-summer 2019, not necessarily releasing 2018. But
Right.
in the meantime, for all the Metroid fans, we've been working on this. And then they show off Samus Returns HD for the Switch. So it's like, you don't get Metroid
Learning
Prime
from the
4.
mistake of Federation Force.
Yeah,
Because if people knew Metroid was coming, they wouldn't have hated Federation Force so much.
Well, it's the same strategy that they did with, what was it? Smash Brothers. They released the 3DS version, waited so many months, and released the Wii U version, because they knew if they announced the release date for the Wii U version the same time as the 3DS, no one would have bought the 3DS version. Unless you didn't have a Wii U. So they released the 3DS version and then the Wii U version. And then they've done something similar with a lot of other games where they released it on 3DS and then brought it to the Switch. Like, what am I thinking of?
I don't know.
They've done this a lot. They've also taken Wii U games and put them on the 3DS, which I have no idea how they do that.
By, like, massively downgrading the quality of it.
It's like, here's your favorite game.
Worlds.
It's like saying, here's your favorite game on the Wii U, and here's your favorite game on the Nintendo 64. Like, because well, I guess it's more powerful than the 64, but the resolution is about the same. Like, they're both like 240p.
240, yeah.
Yeah.
So
but yeah, that's what I expect them to do. And I think for the lesser, like the not as big titles, I expect a lot of other Wii U games or 3DS games to make their way to the Switch. Like, I imagine they'll announce at least 3 new 3DS to Switch games or Wii U to Switch games. So whatever was most popular, like Pokken Tournament or Mario Maker. Maybe it'll be like Mario Maker Deluxe or Mario Maker 2 or whatever, and they'll add in like one more art style.
Right. Yeah,
or 2 players. Like 2 people can play the same thing. Like share the joy. That whole thing. Yeah, I guess, do you have any final thoughts on this? What are you expecting? And then we can move on to our next third piece of news.
I think you covered it. Pretty much anything. Like, I would like to see maybe what kind of indie titles are gonna come up on Switch this year.
Oh yeah.
Or if there's anything else that we haven't seen announced. Like, I think have they put Shovel Knight on Switch
Shovel
yet?
Knight's on Switch.
Yeah, that's
both versions. Like the original and then the one that comes with all the DLC. Treasure Trove.
Unless you bought Shovel Knight years ago, then they just give you the DLC for free, which is nice. But back when Shovel Knight only cost $15, like, geez.
And we should be hearing about Virtual Console at the beginning of next month.
I think
not Virtual Console, they're online.
They're online,
which is supposed to be tied into Virtual Console. So they're being vague about that.
Yes, but I'd like to see what they're gonna actually do, because they said, like, they've been pushing it back. Didn't they delay it? They were gonna do it earlier in the year, or maybe end of last year, and then they were like, they just kind of kept quiet about it and pushed it back. So I don't know. We'll
possibly
see.
In the chat, Hylian Blaziken It says Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 HD on Switch, which could happen because the Switch has the motion controls. But another thing, which we'll get into in a second because it ties in with the next news story I want to do. I think Mario Galaxy 1 or 2, one of them was ported to the NVIDIA Shield, which is running the same technology as the Nintendo Switch.
Yes.
So you can play Mario Galaxy in HD on the Nintendo Shield, but only in China.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's only in China.
But it could just be a workaround because do they still have the console ban in China? The game console ban? I think that's at least used to be a thing.
I
think
thought
it is.
I seen something. It was either China or like one of the Korea, like probably South Korea, because I don't think Nintendo would go to North Korea.
I don't think so.
They did say something about they were moving something into the market, and then I think with Pokemon last year, they announced Ultra Moon and Ultra Sun were being translated to Chinese or something like that, and it was the first time in many years. And then earlier when we were looking for news, I seen an article on Go Nintendo where Nintendo made the statement they are pushing harder than ever to get their games more available in China. They released the IQ player a long time ago that had built-in Nintendo. Yeah, it was a Nintendo 64, but all the hardware was put into the controller because you can have plug-and-play stuff, but you can't have physical separate games. But you can have something like a computer that can play games, but you can't have a Nintendo system that plugs into the TV that you swap in and out games. Only plug and play. Which is why you go to Walmart or Target or wherever and you see a lot of like $20, $30 very cheap, crappy plug-and-play things. It's like it has all the Atari games or it has all of the whatever old game that you've never heard about on it.
Yeah.
So, because I think they specifically make them to sell in China, but then they're like, we have millions of these things and nothing to do with it. Let's sell them in other countries as well. So that's why you see like a $20 plug-and-play Pac-Man.
Yeah.
Even though no one wants it.
No one. But, yeah. You guys should see Tony's channel. He's
got
lots of videos about hardcore games. I don't know why he named it that. But he's got some really good videos about the IQ reader.
During the interview I had with him, one of the first ones, he said that when his channel started getting bigger for the first time and they got like a partnership with someone, like the YouTube partnerships or whatever, which our YouTube channel doesn't have a partnership because I don't want anyone to tell me what to do with my channel and then take hundreds of dollars from me. But their partnership encouraged them to initialize it. So instead of Hard for Games, it was just H4G.
Oh. Okay.
But then they ended up changing it back because it just goes with the style. Like every video, they're having a beer, and then
they're just that's just
they're just like they're hanging out.
Their shtick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So are we ready for this next piece of news? You can open it. It is the Wind Waker on Switch.
Oh, that one. That's what we're doing.
Yeah. This was sent to me by someone on Discord yesterday. Michael61Y is his username. Is he in our Discord server?
Is he?
Let me see here. Profile. Mutual server.
Wait, Did you send me this link?
It was on Skype.
On Skype? I don't think I have it. Is it the data mine one?
No.
Is it?
It's the second to the last one. It says FOF, Switch, Linux, Dolphin, Emu,
I see.
WW.
It's a YouTube link.
Yeah.
Okay.
Alright, so I don't have the video up, but I know what it is.
It's easy enough to find.
Yeah.
So it looks like
I'll do this one since you did it last
got
time.
it.
Alright. Alright, so are you ready?
Yeah.
Alright, wait, what time is it? Not what time is it, but I have to write down the time codes for the podcast. That way I know when to section off each thing. So 38. Are we ready?
Yes.
All right. Oh, your eyes are going back and forth. All right. I was just checking, making sure everything was still good. All right. So, what's up, everybody? This is our new piece of news from Michael61Y on Discord, who is a member of our Discord, where you can join in the comments below or the description below. We have around 1,020 fans on there, which is really cool because some of you send awesome stuff like this. This is Wind Waker, the GameCube version, running on the Nintendo Switch via emulator. This comes from hackers, obviously, because you can't officially get this game to run on the Nintendo Switch.
The
But
GameCube disc won't fit
yes,
in your Switch.
there is no disk drive. As tiny as the GameCube games are, there are no disk drives in the Nintendo Switch. But hopefully you will legally be able to play, I assume, Wind Waker HD. Not the original
I don't know why they would release the original after they made the HD version
so
on HD console.
The thing is, they do have GameCube, Wii games, and I believe even a Wii U game with Twilight Princess HD running on the NVIDIA Shield tablet, which we talked about in the last news story. So there's a couple of things here. With that, I'm not sure if the Shield tablet or the Shield TV system is actually emulating the game, which is a lot more taxing on the hardware than running the game as if it was ported to it naturally. So if you change the code around and get the game to actually run to where it can take full use of the GPU and the CPU, the RAM and everything, then it'll have a much easier time running on a system that's trying to emulate it, which is why to run Dolphin Emulator, for instance, when it first came out, you needed like a top-of-the-line $1,000 PC. Not now, you can run it on like a few $100 laptop. But when Dolphin first came out, compared to like as weak as the GameCube or the Wii was, especially even compared to other systems, you would need like a high-end PC to run the games smoothly. And now you can do it on just about anything. But the reason is when you're not emulating, when you are emulating, you're using the processing power to emulate the console. So you're not just using the power to run the game, you're using the power to make your computer or whatever you're using pretend it is that system. Which is why on the NVIDIA Shield, even though it's almost the same as the Nintendo Switch, it runs like Mario Galaxy, I believe, Twilight Princess HD, and some of these other games almost perfectly, if not perfectly, in HD. So you can get like these amazing Wii games like Mario Galaxy in HD. And the Twilight Princess version, I believe, is also the Twilight Princess HD version for the Wii U. But with this, it does run Wind Waker, the GameCube version, but as you can see, it's running like 70% speed, I would say. Does it actually say there? Yeah, so it's running at around 14 to 15 frames. So it's running at about half speed.
Yeah.
In the comments, one of the people, we actually know this person. He comments on some of our videos sometimes. Says, odd that it runs so slow when the exact same hardware, the Shield TV, can play it in HD at 30 frames per second. So he's saying the same thing we are. Someone replied, says, well, the GPU drivers haven't been released yet. We'll have to wait for other fallover flow, to release it, or atmosphere, which apparently comes with all drivers, Joy-Con, sound, GPU that's needed. Even if they had these drivers and stuff, I think where it is emulating the game and not running it natively, I still don't think it would be able to run the game perfectly.
No.
So, like, it obviously is using the GPU already. Like, maybe you could update the drivers, get it to run at, like, 20, 25 frames, but it would be very hard for it to run smoothly in, like, 720p or 1080p if it's emulating the game. Which, Nintendo, it makes me wonder if whenever they release their emulators for the console, for their virtual console, are obviously like the N64 and other games can be emulated perfectly. The Wii U was able to do all that as well. But when it comes to the GameCube games or the Wii games, which they mentioned GameCube games would be coming to the virtual console, I believe. Are they going to...
I think we talked about that months ago on the podcast.
Yeah, like, are they going to have it emulate it? And where it's Nintendo, they understand how the hardware, the software, everything works perfectly. So maybe their engineers could get it to run at like a steady HD 30 frames per second, like it should. Or are they going to change the code up a bit and get it to run natively on it? That way it's not nearly as taxing. If they change the code to get it to run on the NVIDIA Shield, I could imagine what we see on the NVIDIA Shield is going to be the launch lineup for the GameCube or Wii Virtual Console. Although the Twilight Princess HD has me really confused because it's a Wii U.
Was the HD?
I want to say it
was.
Like, it is running in HD. I do know that. And some of the item and textures looked as if it was the HD version, like the Wii U version.
Right.
But
it might just be because it's up-res, right?
Maybe.
I think the HUD will be the biggest indicator. I'm just gonna...
Well, I think the HUD uses the buttons for the... Don't they? Does it map?
That's a good point.
Does it have the same HUD and then it just maps the buttons to the controller on the Shield, or does it completely change the HUD to match the Shield?
That's a good question. It would be easier to just map the buttons and not change the HUD, obviously,
But then it would bring up the whole confusion problem, because like if you're playing like a GameCube emulator with an Xbox 360 controller, like all the buttons are swapped. X is Y, Y is X, A is B, B is A.
Oh, it's the GameCube version.
Is it? So it's the GameCube version in HD? It has
the button, the GameCube HUD, but it's in widescreen, which the GameCube version was not.
Wait, so it does have the GameCube version, but it is 16:9?
Yeah, so they must have tweaked it, because...
So they probably, since they did tweak it enough to get it running like that, they probably do have it like natively running on it and not emulated.
Yeah, but the thing that's weird is because it's the GameCube version and it's in HD, you've got the sides of where the HUD should be right in the corners. They're kind of in the middle of the screen, and there's space on the sides because, like, it's not black.
So you can do that. You can do that in Dolphin Emulator.
Yeah. So it's that same kind of thing.
You can use like an AR code to make it widescreen, but to get that natively on, like, I wonder if it is emulating it or if it is running it natively. This is the question.
But you know what really bothers me about the GameCube version of Twilight Princess?
It's not widescreen.
Other than that, I can play games that aren't in widescreen. You can only equip.
It doesn't have
2 items.
The what is it? The green or the blue potion? No, is it purple? No. There's some kind of potion that you can. No, there's some kind of potion that you can get in the Cave of Ordeals when like a blue Choo Choo and a yellow Choo Choo combine.
It's green Choo Jelly.
Yeah, which is left over from
video on that.
Yeah, it was left over from the beta, but it's only in the Wii version.
Yes, for some reason.
Yeah, I guess.
But no, that's not what bothers me about the GameCube.
Because like those are the only differences that I could think of. It's like,
no, it's
16:9 Chew Jelly. Give me my Chew Jelly.
The GameCube version, you can use the C stick to control the camera, but you can only equip 2 items
Yeah.
at a time.
It's
In the
like
Wii version,
A
you
Link
can
to
do
the Past.
4. You can do 4. It just feels so like if they just mapped it with Midna
They should have gave us
not
another
on
Z
the
button.
Z button. Yeah, and just had the controls the same and put Midna on the D-pad, and then the controls the rest of it's the same as Wind Waker on the GameCube. Would have been perfect.
Or they could have had the analog sticks click.
That's true. Something, I don't know.
And
but
then like click down the C stick, and then that's Midna or something. Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff they could have done. I never noticed that. I don't think I noticed that.
yeah, no, Z is Midna instead of or
Yeah.
sorry, Z.
And
You're
then
American.
Ocarina of Time. Ocarina of Time has like every combination you can ask for because it gives you like the 2 on the touchpad and then the 2 actual buttons.
Yeah.
So
Really, the Twilight Princess HD is the best version because of the button mapping and the gyroscope and
not
so
having
it's all
to
the
talk
best
to
of both
Midna
worlds.
to
Yeah.
turn into a wolf.
yes, and the dual stick so you can control the camera unlike the Wii version.
Yes, if you guys
And
watching,
widescreen.
if you want to know how important C sticks are, play through Majora's Mask 3D with a new 3DS, and then play Ocarina of Time 3D. And you will... yeah.
Yes. No, it's
I thought you were
honestly, it
reaching
makes
for
such a
your
big difference.
3DS.
No, I wasn't. Sorry.
Alright.
I was just looking at something, but no, it makes such a big difference. Honestly, the camera control is like, no, yeah, it's hard to go back to the Wii Twilight Princess after playing the Wii U one because it's like, I want to look around without turning all of Link and pressing like targeting, you know. Especially if you've got multiple enemies around you, it's just like you get stuck where you're trying to look and then Link's facing the enemy. It's just I've been there. It's bad.
Yeah. So
Yes.
our last piece of news. Okay, no, to end this really quick. When do you expect Virtual Console? And do you think these GameCube Wii emulated games on Shield are going to be launch titles for the Virtual Console?
I think so. Like it feels kind of like
'Cause,
they're,
like, if-
they're testing it out how it's gonna work. you
Yeah,
know?
like if they're literally already running on the exact same hardware,
Yeah.
then
There's no reason not to.
yeah.
Just do Nintendo. Virtual Console, I want to say the fall of 2018. That's my guess. They've put it off long enough. Probably launch alongside their other online services. So you subscribe to the online services, you can do Virtual Console and everything.
Yeah. Like, if it launched at the end of this year and it came with the games you expect, like Mario, A Link to the Past, the original Mario anyways, A Link to
Yeah.
the Past, Super Mario World, Metroid, like all of these games, and then early next year where we don't really know what's coming out, so there is that gap of unannounced stuff,
Yeah.
then they could be like, here's Luigi's Mansion on the GameCube Virtual Console. Here is Star Fox Adventures on the Virtual Console. Here is Star Fox 64. Here's Pokemon Stadium, Pokemon Snap. Like all of these games that the hardcore fans want. And then they could
Yeah.
use Virtual Console to hold them over until whatever the big game is that releases in the summer. So that's my
Yeah.
thought.
It's and I think like it goes along. I think it should launch with the online services because it goes with. They were saying the online service will get like a free game every month or something
Mhm.
like that with it. So it makes sense to launch that with the Virtual Console and like have those coincide and go along with each other. So yes, that's it. Maybe it'll give you a free code and you just download it from the Virtual Console and
All right.
something like that. I don't know how it's gonna work, but
Well, our next topic is going to be discussing the Zelda theory that just went up.
the one you just uploaded.
Yes, I'll do a
Yes.
quick explanation for it for the people that didn't watch the thing, but I thought it would be fun to discuss it. I like discussing the theories more than actually making the theory videos.
Why not do both?
Yeah.
Here we are, friends.
All right. So, are you ready?
I sure am.
All right. What's up, everybody? I am Jesse. Here with me is Daniel for the Hylian's Gamescast. Today, we're going to be discussing the newest Zelda theory that went up on our channel, which was a third Hero of Time quest speculated from new events or new artwork in Twilight Princess HD and some facts from Wind Waker HD. Although they are in separate timelines, you'll see what we mean as we discuss it. So this was a video that just went up. It was written by Hylian Historian on our Discord.
Good guy.
It was voiced by Ilya Rose, a new voiceover person on our channel. It was edited by myself. It has gameplay from Daniel and Zelda Master Luke. And it was at least this version of the theory, because there are different versions. It was created or thought up or something by the team of Hylian Historian, Cole Wise, Kaba Wise now is his username, and Time and Nature. So there was comments on the video saying that Time and Nature was the first person who, because I want to give everyone credit, there was comments saying that Time and Nature was the one who discovered one key piece of the artwork that is on Ganondorf's armor. But then there were other comments from people saying that they were the one that found the artwork, but they thought one person commented and said that they thought it was common sense that people already knew this. I guess kind of like in Ocarina of Time, when you go to Hyrule Castle, you see the artwork of Mario along the walls as the Easter eggs. Like, I don't think any one person can claim they found that first. Like, it's just stuff that apparently everyone has, aside from us, found. I don't even know what the heck that was. That was a weird comment thing.
Yeah, I was just dealing with that. Sorry.
Someone like sent their address or something? I don't know. I
think someone else's address and a lot of information into the chat. That's private information, folks.
Anyways,
don't do that.
So if you don't know this theory, you can go watch it. It is called, I think the full title is Zelda Theory, the Hero of Time's Lost Third Quest, which is literally what the theory is about. So you can go watch it after you listen to us discuss it, or you can watch it and come back and listen to us discuss it. But to quickly cover it, there is new artwork on the wall, which Alnuma said that there was a lot of stuff in Twilight Princess HD that would remind people of Breath of the Wild. And this artwork, like, there was literally a piece of artwork from the E3 showing of Breath of the Wild. So that could be what he was referring to, because I believe it was in Mallow's Mart and one other place. It was literally a scene from Breath of the Wild on the wall, like in a picture frame. But there was also, among many, many other changes to Twilight Princess HD and the textures, there was also
Jesse.
No, I'm going to edit this part out of the video.
Okay, sure.
Just some idiot in the chat.
Yeah, I'm just gonna put him in timeout.
No, he needs to be banned.
Oh, okay, could do that.
Yeah, just ban him.
Yeah.
Alright. Any mods, keep an eye out for the idiot trying to make a second fake account or something.
Yeah, RPG jumped on it.
Alright, so I lost my train of thought.
I'm so
the
sorry.
Theory. No, the
theory.
Yes, the theory. It is. We all know And Nintendo has confirmed that. I mean, I have to start this off by saying this because Gibbs trying to troll us, knowing. But
Yes.
yeah, so Gibbs was the
Not
first
just us,
comment
other people in the comments too.
saying that Majora's Mask, Link, Link in fact does not die in Majora's Mask. Nintendo has said this a few different times. Al Numa, the person who created the game, literally said you're playing the game wrong, which is something I reference as many times as I can. The creator of the game literally said you're playing the game wrong if you go through the game believing this. There are other videos where we talk about the interviews and other theories and stuff. But anyways, this theory suggests his third quest. There is armor on Ganondorf that depicts Link and a monster, presumably Ganon or some sort of dragon, fighting each other. And there are the murals or the carvings on the wall that can be found in several different places, but most notably in Hyrule Castle Town. Going to the Hyrule Castle, you can see it. It's 3 images, one with Link and a woman with a Zora, I believe, one with Link and a man with the Rito, one with Link with a female and a male with the Goron, and the Goron is like bringing down the Triforce, or at least the Triforce is depicted in it. Whether or not the Goron has anything to do with that, we don't know. So alright. I'll have to delete this part too. I think I just...
Okay.
One of the mods do something to, like, just... like, delete that guy or something. Block him. Whatever. Alright, so... train of thought. Sorry, guys.
It's okay. I'm on it, so it's all good.
So, with this, it depicts all this stuff, which those 3, the Zora, the Goron, the Rito, are 3 of the champions from Breath of the Wild. Obviously, we don't have the Gerudo there, but the woman could be a Gerudo.
It could be.
Because you can't really tell on like a stone carving what characteristics they have. No. So, it could be a Gerudo pictured with Link as the young male. And so this all kind of tells the story of a battle that happened with Ganon, with the Hero of Time. Because the Hero of Time is really the only Link that Twilight Princess references. And we know that after Majora's Mask, Link is presumed to have not had any other adventures. He most likely went back to Ocarina of Time. We know he grew up old enough to become a man, have kids, because Link in Twilight Princess is the descendant of Link from Ocarina of Time, and Link, the Hero of Time in Twilight Princess, is the Hero Shade. So this is all stuff that isn't a theory. This has all been confirmed by Nintendo. So it hints at, like, there's a gravestone and stuff, and there's hints that the Hero Shade, or the Hero of Time, became a knight for the royal family before he died, which makes sense. Because in a lot of the Zelda games, he or people in his family are depicted as knights of the Hylian royal family of Hyrule Kingdom. And since he already saved Hyrule, even though that was kind of washed away, he still has all the experience from that, and he did save Termina. So it all points to him having all of these various sword techniques, which he passes on in Twilight Princess as the Hero Shade to the Hero of Light. But all of this artwork and stuff depicts him having another quest, another adventure. You can see the artwork on Ganondorf's armor when he is being, like, during a few scenes, but most notably when he's being sent to the Twilight Realm, which is supposed to take place like sometime after the events of Ocarina of Time. And the most interesting part for me, which is something that a Larulian historian pointed out was that the hero's bow is an adult bow that is given to the Gorons by the hero.
Mm-hmm.
The green tunic that is adult-sized that the Light Spirit gives you when you first get the green tunic in Twilight Princess is meant for an adult. Like, it's the perfect size for an adult Link, not child Link. And then the Zora armor is given to you, and it's the perfect size for an adult. And it's different than the Zora armor from Ocarina of Time. And it said that it was crafted specifically for the hero. Like, the King Zora specifically made it himself for the hero, like the ancient hero or whatever.
Right.
So it wasn't the generic tunic that they just sell in the shop. This was handmade by the King Zora for adult Link. So for all of this to happen, he needed to have another adventure as an adult in Hyrule against Ganon. Because he has the bow, which theorized, since it's the same name from the bow from Majora's Mask, that he either took the bow, saved Hyrule, gave it to the Gorons. He had this tunic made for him that was given to him by the gods or whatever, the adult green tunic. And he had the Zora tunic that was made specifically for him. And all that, plus the depiction of him battling against something, which, if you just go from Ocarina of Time to Majora's Mask to Twilight Princess, he never battles Ganon. Like, that's adult Link, which takes place in the Wind Waker timeline. So for it to depict this battle against Ganon, and for Ganondorf to have the carvings of it on his armor, he must have done something to become Ganon or something. Who knows? And he battled against Link, presumably died or whatever, or maybe not died but was defeated, and then he was taken and sent to the Twilight Realm. So this suggests that the scene in Twilight Princess where he's being sent to the Twilight Realm, a lot of people assume this takes place almost immediately after Ocarina of Time ends. Link warns Zelda of Ganondorf's plans, and then they take him to the Arbiter's grounds. But all of this theorizes that once he got back from Majora's Mask, he warned Zelda, or like he warned Zelda and then he went off to Majora's Mask. But then when he came back, maybe something happened to where they weren't able to stop him, and Link had to go up and fight him once again. But none of the games talk about this, except Twilight Princess does hint to it. And the shield he has in the carvings looks identical to the shield that Link's grandmother gives you in Wind Waker. Like, it has the same shape with the giant Triforce in the center, and it said that shield is passed down from the original hero.
Yeah, or it's the family shield as well. I think it's that they mentioned that family shield is a tradition to hang on the wall.
Yeah, like they mentioned
So
that it's a family tradition to hang it on the wall, but I think they also, because I had to find the scenes in the video, but it says something about the shield was passed down from the original hero who had it. And the artwork depicts the same shield in Twilight Princess. So the theory also points towards that hero being the hero of time somehow, which doesn't quite make sense for Wind Waker to be tied to it as well, because this would be happening in the child timeline, not the adult timeline. So there is a bit of odd stuff going on there, but the shield points to the hero from Ocarina of Time, because that's also the only hero that Wind Waker talks about. So it's...
Yes, which one is like far more explicitly hero of time than Twilight Princess is more heavily implied as opposed to explicitly said outright. So
there's a lot of stuff going on there. I probably did a bad job of trying to explain it all, but there is all of the evidence laid out in nice fashion in the actual video, but I wanted to explain it the best I could from memory. I just finished editing the video yesterday, so it's one of the most recent videos up. But I wanted to get a discussion going on this. So I wanted to explain it to everyone in the video, so you could discuss it in the chat, I could discuss it with you, and Daniel and I could discuss it together. So what are your thoughts on all of this, Daniel?
Feels good. Honestly, the shield was, I think, the part that kind of got me, because it said in Wind Waker that it's their family shield that's passed on, but then it also says, like you said, that it was passed from the Hero of Time. So I'm not sure if it's he stopped using the Hylian shield, or I guess he had the Hero's shield and Majora's Mask, they're both called the Hero's shield, but very different in design. So I'm not sure if it got changed over generations, like they just tweaked it and changed the design a little bit. And the only thing that stayed the same really was the Triforce on it.
Alright, so Wind Waker HD, because I just looked it up in the video.
Okay.
When she first gives it to you, she says, "You got the hero shield." This is the in-game description, not his grandmother saying. It says, "You got the hero shield. This is the legendary shield said to have been used by the hero himself."
Yes.
And
so that's the in-game description.
Yes.
And then what she says is that it's a tradition to hang the family's shield with the family crest on the wall.
Yes.
So
there's also text about the green tunic that says, "Today is the day to celebrate. It is the day that you become the same age as the young hero spoken of in all the legends." In the olden days, this was the day boys finally considered to be men. They were taught the ways of the sword, prepared them for battle with their enemies. Trying to get to the part where the shield's on the wall. Yeah, basically it says what you're saying. It's family tradition for them to put the shield on the wall.
So,
but it is the same shield that belonged to the Hero of Time. So that is a bit interesting.
Yeah,
because he had to get rid of it. But he also had a different shield when he left for Hyrule to go to Termina. He had... Was it called the Hero Shield as well?
Yes, it is also called the Hero Shield.
Yeah.
Yes, and then in both games, in both Majora's Mask and Wind Waker, Link ditches the Hero Shield as soon as he finds the Mirror Shield. So... But I feel like, that's like pretty heavy evidence that that Wind Waker Link is related to Ocarina of Time Link in the same, or at least that they have a common ancestor or something, that they're related in some way to the Hero of Time. Obviously, he can't be a direct, like, great-great-great-grandson like Link in Twilight Princess, because he doesn't exist as an adult in that timeline anymore.
Yeah, it could have been something like...
Who knows?
There has to be some crazy thing to go on for it to be the Hero of Time in Wind Waker, but it points... Like, it definitely references the shield belonging to the Hero of Time. So, maybe... Like, I don't even...
I don't know. Unless it's, like, a different hero that they reference... Because I think in Minish Cap you get a similar shield.
Yeah, Minish Cap you have the Hero of Men that they reference.
Yes, but the shield Zelda gives you in Minish Cap, I think, is the same design. One sec. But
Minish Cap was made after Wind Waker.
Well, exactly. It's made after, and also the shield in Minish Cap can't be the same one. The design is the same, but in Minish Cap, the big Goron changes that shield into the Mirror Shield.
Yeah.
So he doesn't swap it out for the Mirror Shield. He transforms it into the Mirror Shield.
Wind Waker implies that this shield belonged to an old hero, most likely, but not fully the Hero of Time.
Yes.
And he gave it to someone, passed it down, and then... Yeah, but you have to remember, when Wind Waker first came out, there was no child timeline, adult timeline. It was one complete... Everything in Ocarina of Time happened. The adult, the young. So it's implied from Wind Waker, I guess, that adult Link, or after he became an adult or something, he just, like... Once he became an adult, he had the shield. and then he passed it down to someone, or he passed it down along his family, but then that's retconned when Twilight Princess launched. Which almost didn't happen. Because Twilight Princess would have been Wind Waker 2. So it could have been one concise timeline. But
yes, I'm making Axel happy if that were the case.
Yes.
But we North Americans screwed up the timeline. It's our fault. But yes, it's like almost it's heavily implied that there's the relation there in some way. So he has to, again, like, obviously I don't think he's a blood descendant, like, or not blood descendant directly the same way Twilight Princess Link is, but in some way related to the Hero of Time, and that there's some lineage there, or if there's, I don't know, a sibling or cousins, who knows what, for the Hero of Time. But yeah, that, or maybe they just think they are and they're not actually. Who knows?
It's like they have their family history all messed up.
That's always a possibility.
Well, I forgot the explanation, but I remember a long time ago I came across a theory that suggested Link's grandmother was Malon, or a descendant of Malon from Lon Lon Ranch. But, which is theoretically who Link marries in Twilight Princess's timeline, but Wind Waker timeline, he just doesn't exist, so I don't know how to explain that, but there was some sort of explanation given there, which maybe it was a shield that while he was an adult, he didn't, like, it doesn't show it in-game.
Yeah.
But for, like, he comes across it, like in Twilight Princess, Ocarina of Time, a lot of the items are optional, so maybe it was something, like, it could have been the design for a shield that was meant for Ura or something, and then they reused it in Wind Waker. And then maybe they thought they were still going to sometime release Ura, and just as it was supposed to give you all these new items that were scrapped, they said they reused the dungeons, everything in later games. Maybe this was a shield design that was also reused. So it could have belonged to the Hero of Time, just not, like, used because Ura never came out. So that's my explanation.
Yes. But as far as being in Twilight Princess goes, it does seem likely that this would be, like, we've seen him now with the Hero of Time with Deku Shields, then Hylian Shield, Mirror Shield, Hero's Shields, Mirror Shield again, with different Mirror Shield, and then the shield, the round shield that he's got is the Hero's Shade. So it's not unlikely that if he came back to Hyrule, he went through some other equipment, you know? Yeah. Especially because he's wearing heavy armor as opposed to his classic tunic as well.
Yeah,
as the Hero's Shade, so...
Like, it's suggested that he becomes a knight of the royal family, which is why he's buried in the graveyard next to the castle.
So it seems likely that, you know, he had different... If he went on a third quest, he had different equipment for it.
Is that the same shield design, or the same shape they have for the guards of Hyrule? Or do they even have a shield?
Most of them have, I think, just spears, but in the cutscenes, I think they're showing some with shields.
Alright, I'm Googling this.
In Twilight Princess. But most of them are depicted as having spears, I believe. But yeah, so it's okay,
the Twilight Princess, like it's not the same shield they have. The design is kind of the same, or at least the shape.
Right.
But it has like the Master Sword with the Triforce is at the very top instead of the center. So.
Okay, I have to find this now.
Yeah, it's called the Holy Hylian Shield, is what this describes it as.
I can't spell. The Holy Hylian Shield. Oh, I see.
And
I see. So it's got the sword and then the crest and the Triforce at the top.
Yeah, but the shape is
kind of reminds me of
similar to
the royal shield in Breath of the Wild. You know?
Yeah, it does.
Just like the long shape and the gold and black
Yeah,
design.
that's interesting. All right, so before we move on to
Yes.
questions, final thoughts, Daniel.
Theory feels tight to me. I don't know. I don't see any flaws in it or like loopholes. It just feels like there's still some like gaps in it. To be honest, just like because we don't have enough information available, so we kind of have to use conjecture to fill those gaps. But it makes sense to me that there would be events between Majora's Mask and Twilight Princess involving the hero that we haven't seen yet. Like, he wouldn't just go and do nothing.
Yeah.
You know, after saving Hyrule, going and saving Termina, coming back to Hyrule, and he just kicks back and does nothing. There's almost certainly events there, and I always felt like, as the hero shade, like this is a hero who did all these things, and he went on more adventures after and did more stuff, and that's why he's such a weathered and so skilled of a hero, you know, because the moves he teaches Link you can't do in those games, so he had to, I think, probably learned them afterwards or invented them afterwards or something like that. So yeah, that's my thoughts.
All right, I think we can go on to the mailbag.
Okay, sounds good.
All right. What is the time code? 120. All right. So I will do the intro for it, and then you can take us to our first question. All right.
Okay.
You ready?
Yes, sir.
What's up, everybody? I am Jesse, or Game Over Jesse, as all of you may know me. Here with us, as always, for the Hylian's Gamescast Zelda mailbag is Daniel.
Hello.
Yes. Today, on this episode, we're going to be answering your Zelda questions sent in. If sometimes we get so many questions, we can't quite answer every single one of them. But if you would like your question guaranteed to be featured on the show, head over to patreon.com/GameOverJesse, where you can donate just $1 to get a bunch of cool stuff, like being on videos, being guests on podcasts, and getting your questions answered like this. Who is our first question from, Daniel?
Okay. Well, he asked in the chat, and I said I was going to pop it into the question to save it. RPG, the one and only, says, do you think amiibo will have a great part in the next Smash Bros? They seem to be phasing them out rather quickly. What do you think, Jesse?
I think I don't necessarily think they're phasing them out. I just don't think that there are games that are giving it a big push at the moment. They had a lot of success at the beginning with games like Smash Brothers, Mario Party had some cool amiibo that had moderate success, and then I think the next big amiibo line came with Breath of the Wild, because those sold out super quick. Even the 30th anniversary Zelda, which was gearing up for Breath of the Wild, sold really well. I think the next big lineup is going to come with Pokemon, because Pokemon anything sells. And we also have a new Smash Brothers coming out, so we could get another wave of the Smash Brothers amiibo success. So that's my thoughts.
I agree. I don't actually think they're phasing them out. They're putting one out for Dark Souls.
Yeah.
So it's I think they can sell an amiibo for it, they will. Amiibos have been a huge success for Nintendo.
Yeah, the thing is, they're not phasing them out. It just seems that way because stores don't have them, because they're all selling out.
It's true, and
so it's
they
quite
are
the
probably
opposite.
just maybe not releasing as many at a time. Like the first wave of amiibo, they released a lot of variety. So like it was like the first 20 characters in Smash released as amiibo. So they did Smash in 3 waves, and that's like 20 characters per wave-ish, ballpark. And so since we've been getting games that maybe don't have as many characters in them as Smash, they haven't been releasing as many all at once. so that I don't think they're phasing them out. They're just maybe being more conservative with how they are, or with how many characters they're putting out at a time.
Yeah.
But I think Smash is what started Amiibo, and I don't think that they're gonna quit with such a successful market for the next one. I'm gonna cry a little if they do release all the characters again for Smash with that are different Amiibo, because like I have so many, and I'm like, I'll be very conflicted because I want to buy the new ones, but I've got the old ones. I think the best thing to do for Smash would be to re-release all of them again, the whole Smash lineup again.
Yeah,
Maybe
but they might have the
higher
character
quality.
changes. Like Link's going to be Breath of the Wild Link, Zelda possibly Breath of the Wild Zelda. Although I think Twilight Princess Zelda still matches the best.
Yes, for Smash I think so, but we'll see what happens. Breath of the Wild Zelda is not a fighter like Twilight Princess 1 Zelda is, so yeah, I think if they, for characters that are the same, you can just re-release them, and maybe just update some of them, but not all the characters need an update necessarily. So
yeah,
we'll see, because I have a feeling they'll change a lot of the character designs, not just Mario and Link, but I think Samus will have her Samus Returns design rather than Other M design, for example. Just because, well, maybe I'm just hoping because that design's way cooler, but yeah.
Well, our next question comes from Patreon supporter The One, who has his own YouTube channel. You guys should go check out. He says, Game Over Jesse, King Bergerson, if you could design and implement your own Zelda item into a new game, what would it be and what function would it have? So a brand new item. Daniel, you give your answer to this, and I will be back in 2 seconds. I'm getting an important call.
Well, gosh, that's hard. I should have prepared for this question. A brand new item. Oh, lordy. Every time I keep thinking of what new item would be, like they actually make it in a Zelda game. But I think similar to like the grapple, the grappling hook as it was in Phantom Hourglass. That's what the game is called, where you can kind of hook it between two things. Because it was cool how it worked in Wind Waker, where you can throw it on things and climb it. But anything that helps you traverse the world, I think, is a cool item. Basically, that's why hookshot is so popular, because it helps you move better, basically, and reach new areas. So I'd love to see something like that where but like you could hook the grappling hook between two things and climb it or balance beam it if you want, like tightrope walk it, I guess, or use it to slingshot yourself like you do in Phantom Hourglass. I guess this is not really a new item though, because it's actually been done. So I think that's exactly how it was used in Phantom Hourglass, so I need to come up with something better. You guys in the chat are killing me here. A shotgun? A helicopter? An Apache helicopter? Infinity Gauntlets? Sure, man. Lightsaber? All good suggestions. You know, the Guardian swords are kind of like lightsabers. Kinda. This very different design, but yes. That's guys, this is a hard question. The One, I'm so sorry. This is hard. A brand new item. You gotta you think of things and they're like real world things, and then like how fun would they actually be able to use it in the game, and then it kind of falls apart. But Jesse, you're back-ish, sort of. He's not back. He's still on the phone. They are lightsabers, and I never thought of it. Yes, RPG. They pretty much are lightsabers. Different styles of lightsaber. But yeah, they're just like energy swords. Rollerblades. I guess the hover boots are like flying rollerblades, right? A bunny ray gun. See, because my first thought when we read the question was, I'd love something that you can like put it down somewhere and then you could warp back to it. And I thought, oh, that's Pharaoh's Wind. Oh, and also it's also the travel medallion.
Hello?
So, Jesse.
Okay. had.
I'm having a hard time with this question.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm all alone.
I don't know what you've said so far, so I hope I don't repeat anything that you've said. I had a phone call from an annoyance, but the plus side is I was able to talk to my daughter for a few minutes, or a minute,
Ooh.
so it wasn't all bad. So recap what you've said so far.
So, I've said that this question is really difficult because I keep thinking of ideas and they're already in the games.
I
So my
know what
first
I
thought-
want.
Okay, what do you want?
No, finish what you were saying and then I'll do it. Because
Oh,
mine
yeah.
is something that kind of has been done, so it's something
Well, that was mine too. It was like,
that
oh no.
isn't.
I
Okay.
started saying it, and I was like, oh, that's actually done already.
No, so mine is something that hasn't necessarily been done, but it has. So it's something that people, whenever they hear, probably be like, Nintendo wouldn't do that. But then it's like, well, they've done that like 5 different times before. It was just used for different things. Go with yours, and then I'll do mine.
Okay, so mine, I talked about using like a grappling hook to connect to two things. You can tightrope walk it or climb it, like hang and climb from it, and slingshot. And then it kind of occurred to me that was already in Phantom Hourglass.
Skyward Sword.
And Skyward Sword.
Didn't they have that?
No, well, there were tightrope walking parts,
Okay.
but you couldn't like connect the rope.
Yeah.
And then I was thinking of an item where you could put it down and you could warp back to that, and I realized that that's both the Travel Medallion
Losing
and
Lino
Pharaoh's
says
Wind. So that's in
you
2
need a
games
shotgun.
already. Yeah, yes.
Is that what you said?
No, that's what they said in the chat.
All right. So mine was a bird call. Similar
So
to
like the horse call?
Yeah, similar to the horse call or the reefs that you could call, like as Wolflink, you could call the giant bird that you could fly on. Have a Loftwing call.
Ooh.
I want a damn Loftwing. I want it so bad.
That would be such a good end game thing in Skyward, and like a open world
Yes.
game like Breath of the Wild. End game. For
So
sure.
it's not a weapon, but it is an item.
Yes.
Although maybe you could use it to fly into something and attack it. Like I think you could do that in Skyward Sword against Leviathus.
Levias.
Yeah, Levias. That's his name. The giant
Yes.
whale that had the tumor that was taking over his body.
Evil
The,
tumor.
the parasitic
parasite.
tumor. Yeah. And then
Yes.
you had to fly into the eyeball or something like that to attack it. Or maybe it had the enemies that came out. You had to fly. It's been 4
Had to
years
spin
since I
dash
beat the game.
into it.
So, but yeah, that's essentially what I want. Jesse needs the return of the Loftwings.
You know what? What I really want is just a companion character that fights as well, alongside you.
Yeah,
That's really what I want. So
the,
it's not an
the
item.
random NPCs that you would find in Breath of the Wild, but they just come
Yeah.
along with you.
Yes, and they're also smart. They won't walk into stuff, and they won't get stuck. It's just a really useful companion character. I think a good example of that I used to have on the GameCube. This game, Prince of Persia: Sands of Time.
Never heard
And
of it.
it's
No,
very
it's
good.
a joke.
Oh, okay, you have heard of it.
That's
Okay.
the most
was a
popular
little
Prince
worried.
of Persia game.
Yes, it's good. But the character Farah,
Hmm.
she's your companion character, and then she helps you solve puzzles. And then also when
Oh.
you get into a fight, she actually is freaking useful. She actually
So have you
fights.
played the new God of War?
Gosh of War?
Yes.
No, I haven't actually.
Have you seen trailers or anything?
Yes.
All right,
Yes, I have.
so
Where your son.
Yeah, I've
Shoot
made
stuff.
the joke that it is the best Zelda game to release on PlayStation 4 and the best Zelda game to release in 2018. So I make that joke, but I also follow it up with, whenever I say the 2018 part, until the end of the year, because I strongly believe we will get a new Zelda game, not Hyrule Warriors, which is already confirmed, which we talked about. Were you in the video? Or you edited the video? The Zelda games in 2018, 2019
Yes.
to 2020.
And
There was a lot of people that commented on it. I was like, Hyrule Warriors isn't coming to the Switch. It's already here.
It's here.
So, is it here?
It's
People
it's
have it.
there. It exists.
People have it. I don't know if I can say that, but I know people that do have it. So there's
Yes.
that. But I was right about that. And I thought that was an if. Like, that was something that I thought could happen, but I wasn't sure on. The Zelda game coming at the end of the year is something I am 99% sure of. But,
Like those odds.
yeah, whether it's either a remake or a 2D game is what it's going to be. It's going to be Ocarina of Time HD or a 2D Zelda game. Because they've been working on something for like 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know what it is. If it's a brand new IP, I'm going to be mad.
Oh, it might be. I don't know.
Yeah.
I
But
have no idea.
anyways,
Yes.
what was I talking about?
New items.
Yeah, but there was
Other than Loftwing. Hyrule Warriors.
no. It was before Hyrule Warriors. I was off the topic of that. I was like converting to something.
I don't know. It's gone now. Next question.
Well, anyway, someone said invisibility cloak in the thing.
Oh, that's in A Link to the Past.
Invisibility?
Well, you turn invisible.
Okay, and then I was gonna
So,
say
yeah.
the stone mask was in.
Oh,
Majora's
there's that
Mask.
too. Yeah,
So not necessarily a cloak,
but
but
with the cape, it's called the Magic Cape in A Link to the Past. You turn invisible and also you become invulnerable, which is neat. But it drains your magic power so it's like the invisibility cloak combined with Neighbor's Love. And you can just there's this one puzzle where you just have to walk over this hallway and the floor is just spikes. But if you have the magic cape, it's just no big deal. But
Yeah.
there's pretty much only enough magic in your magic meter to get from one end to the other and not to get back. So, yeah, you just gotta try and book it back afterwards, and hopefully you have enough hearts.
so we have two very nice comments.
Mm-hmm.
Rabbit23 GSO, I believe, says, I want to thank y'all for your podcast. I love them so much. I'm on my way home, and this is the best medicine.
Oh,
And then Night Pasta says Jesse is bae. So
that's
I
true.
guess there's
also.
that.
Thank you both. Losing Limo says, I thought that was a rod, not a cape. There's
The rod
also
made
the
you
cane
jump.
of Birna.
There was something that made you jump. Like you would use it to jump over rocks.
No, not in A Link to the Past.
No,
In Minish Cap, there's the cape
hold
that
on.
makes you jump. And in Link's Awakening, there's the feather that makes you jump. But the rod, there's the fire rod, the ice rod, there's the cane of
Link to the
Birna, the
Past.
cane of Samaria.
Rod.
Cane of Birna also makes you invulnerable and also surrounds you with a little swirly thing that hurts everybody else. Hurts all your enemies. Rock Feather makes you jump. Yes, Ice Fire 149. Rock Feather is not in A Link to the Past though. That's Link's Awakening. There's a rock cape in the Oracle games to jump. And also
Maybe that's where I'm getting
Minish
mixed up.
Cap. Oracle games, Minish Cap, and Link's Awakening.
I think I got
are
confused with the cane of
jumping.
Bernia, whatever it's called, that protects
Cane
you.
of Fear now?
Yeah.
Yes. There is that as well.
So
They are all good items to have.
our next question comes from Losing Limo.
Yes.
Says,
this question.
Game over, Jesse, King Bergerson. I haven't even read the question yet. If you ate a Zora egg, how would you have it cooked, scrambled, poached, boiled, etc.? Also, what do you think it would taste like? I had my first poached egg when
Ever? Like in your whole life?
when I went on the trip with to Nashville to hang out with the band Escape the Fate. When we went out to brunch with the
Right.
drummer, because their concert was that night, but we hung out the entire day. So it was early in the morning, we went out to brunch. We went to some brunch restaurant that was super duper expensive. But I had poached egg and potatoes and something else, and it was delicious. I had never had poached egg before, so I didn't know how it would taste, but it was awesome. And yeah, so but I would say scrambled. I would have the Zora
okay.
egg I don't know how fish eggs taste. I've only had bird eggs.
They would be very different.
So maybe a Rito egg I would eat.
Ooh.
But
This feels very unethical to me.
Do you think Ritos lay eggs like
Oh yeah, they're birds.
chicken? Well, yeah, but like, do you think they only lay eggs when it's necessary, or do you think they lay eggs like chickens do, even when they're not fertilized?
Oh, good question.
Because
I
from Wind Waker, like you never see Rito eggs just lying around.
Yeah.
So I would imagine they only have them when it's necessary.
Mm-hmm.
Not as obviously not for them as a source of food, because that would be cannibalism.
Yes. No.
But I don't think they have eggs like chickens do. So if you did eat the Zora egg or a Rito egg, because technically they're the same race, well, different races, but evolution of the same. I imagine it would be like, in the process, you would have to be killing the baby to eat it.
Yeah.
So I don't think I would do it, but I imagine it would taste like a nasty ostrich egg. I don't know what an ostrich egg tastes like, but like a nasty version of that.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't like fish eggs to begin with. So,
I've never ate
they are
fish
very
eggs.
different than like a chicken egg that you can buy. So they're prepared very different. Their texture is very different.
Horrible?
You couldn't poach. I don't think you could poach it, or scramble it.
It's like they're already in the water.
Yeah, that's true. So I don't think it would work, man. You'd have to eat it with like sushi or caviar, or something. And I just already
Don't eat Zora eggs. Keep Link vegan.
already not.
Newsflash: Breath of the Wild. I'm sure you could have like an all-vegan diet in Breath of the Wild.
Oh, you can. Yeah, you
But-
can eat just mushrooms and plants and stuff, but
Yeah, but everybody knows the meat is
Truffles.
where all the hearts are.
unless you get some hearty radish
Yeah.
and hearty truffles, but then a hearty salmon trumps it all. So
I want to look at the list. I know it's in the guidebook for Breath of the Wild, but I don't think they have it organized to where it's like whatever the best things are at the top. I think it's in
Right.
like alphabetical order or something. And then there was the list. Like, I don't think it tells the mills. It might do some of the mills, but I remember there was when the translation team, or when Nintendo of America was playing Breath of the Wild for the first time before the game launched.
right,
I think it was the translation team. Nintendo of Japan, or some of the one of the teams at Nintendo of Japan that was working on specifically the food items were like, hey, if you need help, we can send you the list of all of the food items and recipes and stuff. But there was like 900 different recipes. So the people were like, no thanks. Because it was like too much to go through. Because
Right.
you can, like, 900 or whatever it was sounds like a lot. But if you think about it, like, you can combine one egg with one apple. You can combine 2 eggs with 1 apple. You can combine 3 eggs
Yeah.
with 1. So you can do like combinations of
Yeah.
all of these things using different numbers. So I imagine there is like hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands, of combinations.
yeah, that's the thing. Is that like, if you're gonna make, let's just say, tasty simmered fruit, and you want to put in some fleet lotus and swift carrots and mushrooms, and the different amounts of those technically all will give you different properties of the hearts and how much your speed boost will be and how much that'll last. They're all the same meal, but they all have different properties based on how much of which ingredient you're putting in. So technically, they're all different recipes, even if it's just one thing is different or you have one more something. So it's like there's probably thousands of combinations,
Yeah. So
for all the different food.
was Majora's Mask the only Zelda game that had Zora eggs? Skyward Sword had the the Perilla
Perellas.
eggs.
Yeah, which I think became the Zoras, the Perellas.
Yeah.
But
Like if
Yeah, I can't
if
think
a
of any other
fish-
games that had Zora eggs.
if a fish can evolve into a bird, then I imagine a jellyfish can evolve into a fish. That
Yeah.
seems less drastic than the Rito.
Yes. So,
Because
I
the
would
eggs look the same
not
as
eat-
well, don't they?
The which?
The eggs.
I think so.
Because
And the Pirella
they're
already
music
look
notes.
kind of Zora-ish,
Yeah.
you know? Yeah,
the
tabs,
Gorons just stay the same.
They're just rocks.
All right, take us to our next question, Mr. Daniel.
Yes. So, that's a good... Okay, so this comes from Game Over Night of Ashelda.
Yeah, also,
Sorry if
everyone
it's a
in the
little
chat, give us your questions in the live chat right now, or join our Discord group. One of the people who's already in our Discord group post a link to the Discord group so the new people watching can join, and then you can post your questions there.
Yes.
Or if you're in the live chat, you can just post them as well.
Yeah. So, Game Over Knights of Ashelda asks, Game Over Jesse, King Bergerson, sorry if a little late, but what type of government you think in the real world would fit with each race? Also, for a reward for collecting all of the Korok seeds, you should instead get a Korok bomblet that would instantly kill an enemy instead of a piece of poop. I agree, you shouldn't get poop as a reward.
Okay, so
That's terrible.
one thing that would be a little bit better than getting just a piece of poop, although the effect of the poop is kind of cool. It makes the beam longer or more powerful or something.
Oh, does it?
I think so. When you charge up your sword beam and you throw it, it makes it go further.
But so does wearing the Twilight Princess Link costume.
Interesting.
Yeah, if you wear the full set.
That should be
That's-
something
it's
on
set
Skyward
bonus.
Sword Link, not Twilight
It
Princess.
should be. I actually don't have the Skyward Sword set, so it might be that as well.
That's odd. Anyways, after you get the 900 Korok seeds, same as the Deku seeds, he should give you a slingshot and be like, now you have all this ammo, go have fun.
Yes.
So it's
So you
like
have
you get
900 seeds of ammo.
yeah, you get like a weaker version of the bow and arrow, but
but
you'll get every 10 shots you take, because to have a slingshot, it would obviously be weaker than the bow and arrow, but you could have it so that it stuns the enemies for like 10 seconds each, kind of like in Ocarina of Time or Majora's Mask. It kind of stuns the enemies for a bit, doesn't it?
I think so, yeah.
Or is that just Queen Goma?
I don't know anymore.
Yeah. Alright, so
I don't know.
it'll either stun it, or each shot is a one-hit kill, but you only have the 900. So once you're out, like, you can still get more, but it's insanely expensive.
Yes.
But their one-hit kills would be cool. That way people
Yes.
wouldn't look at it and be like, why would I use that if I have a bow and arrow?
Yeah.
So if they do different things, then... Like, if
The
you could
bomblet's
shoot and stun...
Interesting idea.
If you could stun a Lionel for 10 seconds, like, that would make
Yeah.
on par with the bow and arrow.
hmm
So, just my thought.
Yes.
Some Deku
The other
nuts.
half of the question
Oh, sorry.
is real world governments.
Oh, yeah,
you
yeah,
think
yeah.
fit with each race? Obviously, the Hylians is a monarchy.
I think the Gorons would have, like, they would vote on whoever was the most brotherly to be in charge.
Yeah, like
Because
an
it's not
elected
King
official.
Darunia.
Oh, he's the chief.
Yeah. So I think
Big
they
Brother.
just, like, vote, I guess.
Yes, oh, it's more like an alpha thing, you know, like
yeah.
the one who's
Like
the
a wolf
strongest.
pack.
Yeah.
Well, no, not the
Like
strongest,
proper
because in
patriarchy.
Twilight Princess, the patriarch wasn't
No, Darvis
the leader.
is the patriarch.
Yeah, but he wasn't the
patriarch.
leader.
But really, the elders were like, I think he was like officially the leader. He was the patriarch, but the elders were really running things.
Okay.
You know, they were the real deal, kind of behind the scenes though.
The Zoras have a monarchy as well.
Yes.
The
Gerudo
Gerudo.
seemed the most democratic.
She's not
I don't
queen,
know. She's the chief as well.
but she's not queen.
But her mother was also the chief. She
Although
inherited.
Ganondorf was king.
That's true.
But I think that
But-
was just something like he just took that title.
Hmm. Probably. And I know that, like, with Riju, she's not, like, the queen. She's the chief, but she wasn't elected or voted in. She was... she inherited it from her mother, right? Her mom died, so
Maybe
she
it's
was...
something that like you have to prove yourself, and she was able.
Yeah.
Like if your mother was the chief or whatever,
Mhm.
and you were able to prove yourself after she's gone, then you're
Right.
able to become that. Otherwise, someone else can step in to prove themselves.
But then I don't... Well, maybe she just went and challenged then. Because I was like, she's a little kid, you know? So, like, as far as proving herself goes, what would they put her through to prove herself? If it's combat, then she would be bested by any of the other Gerudo, Bularia chief among them.
Unless she was just really good.
Unless, yeah, like
Like when
4-year-old
Link was a kid. Yeah, Link when
Yeah.
he was a kid, they said he was able to beat all the others, so maybe she was too. And then it would be similar to Black Panther. If you ever seen that, because you
I
can
actually
challenge. Yeah, you can challenge to become the king, but you have to be able to beat the person who's already there.
Maybe
So-
no one wanted to. They're just like, oh, what's the point?
It's like,
Just
who wants
let
to
her.
pick on this?
I don't
little
want
girl?
that. I don't want to fight this kid.
No. Who else is it? The Rito.
Oh, someone said in the chat, Xenostriger probably could have won that kind of challenge if she can use the Thunder Helm. It's because the Thunder Helm would protect her, right? It puts like a shield around her. Such having the Thunder
If they have
ability.
lightning attacks. So
Yeah.
what about the Rito?
The Rito.
Or is,
So many of these races, their leaders are just called the Chief.
hold on.
We also have to think, are we talking about Wind Waker Rito or Breath of the Wild Rito? Because the Wind Waker Rito are more like a corporation.
they're the postmen.
Yeah.
they're the post birds.
They're the postmen. Exactly. Whereas Breath of the Wild's Rito...
It's like we have no
seem more-
government. We are the post birds.
They have no government. They have a CEO. Yeah, the Breath of the Wild Rito seem very
Oh, this
a
is
little more
weird.
tribal.
With the Rito on
Yeah.
Zelda Wikia, it says the Rito race are inspired by the Watara race in the Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time manga, though generally not considered to be canon, as revealed in a joined interview by Aonuma and the manga artist at the end of the Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past manga. So
Oh.
the Watara is a race. It's a bird race from the Ocarina of Time manga, but was not in the actual game. But Aonuma did say Rito were inspired by them, which is interesting.
That is interesting.
Where do they fight in? Link first discovers the Watara while fishing as he finds Prince Rauru, and he is identified by Dr. Mizumi in Lakeside
Wait.
Laboratory. The prince is revived, but is snooty and mean to those around him. He tortures Navi, and Link is upset by his behavior. When a tornado appears on Lake Hylia, and Link goes to fight the monsters inside, he teaches Rauru the meaning of courage. There you go, people. If you ever quote the manga as being canon for the games, when you say that in Majora's Mask manga, Majora is a beast and Fierce Deity makes him dance to kill him and turn him into a mask, just go away. Because at no point does that ever happen. At no point in Ocarina of Time does Link fight monsters inside a tornado at Lake Hylia.
No, that
Like,
never happens.
Although it is in the manga, and it just said, although not considered canon by the creator of the game, it still happens in the manga.
Yes.
There's no tornadoes at Lake Hylia with monsters
Here's a thought.
inside them.
I see. I'm still thinking about the government thing. The Rito in Wind Waker, the leader's called the chieftain, but Kamali is referred to as Prince Kamali.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So
is there a king? Was his dad dead?
Because his dad's the chieftain. Because his dad specifically, he says like, "Go see my son." Prince
Now, does he
Kamali.
call himself Prince? Like
No, but everyone else calls him Prince.
No, but I'm saying, does he tell everyone to call him Prince?
Oh, maybe.
Like maybe
Could
he
be.
sees like the way it used to be, and was like, if they had princes and princesses when we were Zora, but now we have a chieftain, why can't I still be called Prince? That doesn't seem fair. You're taking my princehood away from me. So he tells everyone, call me Prince or your mail will be delivered late.
He's gonna hold their mail hostage.
Yeah.
Oh. Yes, maybe.
What other races are there? The Deku, they follow... That's like a more of a religious thing with the Koroks.
Yeah, they're kind of like...
Because the Deku
They don't really
tree-
have a government.
They all
like
just
kids.
follow their deity.
Yes. They're more like a family.
Yeah.
Who had other races? I guess there's the Mogma. They're like scavengers. No government there. Because they're all pretty much just looking for like food and treasure. They're like treasure hunters.
Yeah.
Deku
Alright.
Scrubs have a king. Losing Limo says. So
We need a few more questions in the chat before we leave. We'll answer 3 more. Does that sound good, Daniel?
that sure does.
All right. Looking through to see right now.
Hmm.
As well as area-specific enemies and more variety rather than different colors of the thing. You have to tag us. Like, put at Game Over Jesse so your question is highlighted.
Yes.
Oracle
Please.
game. I would love to continue where it ended. That thumbnail. 3 swords. No Jinsu. It's expired. Jesse, you guys are still podcasting. Yes, we're still podcasting.
We sure are.
No, that's when you have Hero with Wild. My question is, what would you like to see? Okay, so from Nintendo World, my question is, what would you like to see? Or no, what would you like? What? My question is, what would you like to see if Nintendo decided to release more DLC for Breath of the Wild? Although they are not releasing more DLC, I would like to see traditional dungeons.
Mm-hmm.
Just put like 1 dungeon in each of the main areas.
Mhm.
Like just being like, most people would say, well, how do you explain the dungeons or the temples not being there before? Just have them rise out of the ground. Be like, that's why they didn't see
like
them
the
before.
shrines
Yeah.
that were in the DLC.
Yeah, so they just rise out of the ground and you're like, oh, there was a temple there the whole time. You just didn't know about it because it got buried.
You just need like the staircase to rise out, you know?
Yeah.
I would choose the like water stuff. Like let's say there's
Swim
a side
underwater.
quest. You have to take your Zora armor to the smithy, and then it gives you the ability to swim underwater. And then you find in like the ocean area, and there's that giant bay between Eventide Island and the mainland.
Mhm.
There's the sort of underwater divine beast that we see from
Yeah, the concept art.
concept art. And then there's not just that added, but now all of the bodies of water in the game, there's stuff to find in there, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And if maybe we get iron boots, that would be cool. Iron boots, or just maybe as a built-in function for the Zora greaves, where you could, much like when you put on the Zora mask in Majora's Mask, where you can kind of sink or swim to replace the iron boots.
Yeah,
you
so
know?
that's something you mentioned, going to a smithy, a blacksmith to upgrade
Yeah, well, there's
items.
the Zora blacksmith.
Yeah, like I would have preferred that as opposed to just continually going back to the Great Fairy Fountain for everything. If we could have went to a like the Zora blacksmith worked on Zora water type stuff. The Goron worked on the Goron type stuff. The Rito worked on the Rito type stuff. It's like, oh, these feathers, if you wear this, you'll be able to glide further.
Yeah.
So that would have
be
helped
good.
out a lot. Or glide faster.
Yeah, or say blacksmith opens in one of the villages, and then you can replenish the weapon durability.
Yeah, instead of buying
So
a
say-
new Hylian shield, you could just get it worked on.
Yeah. So if say you find you're using a weapon that you really like, you get the warning. It says that it's badly damaged. So you just swap it out for a different weapon, keep it. You could take it back to the blacksmith, and it would refill its durability basically. And probably would cost you materials and rupees to do, like ore or flint, depending on what kind of weapon it is. Even if you've got like a Gerudo scimitar, maybe it's like a ruby, flint, and rupees. And then if it's like broadsword, diamonds and flint and rupees, or
Sorry.
depending on. Yes,
I had a
it's okay.
quick visitor.
It's okay.
So that would be neat, just to like have it based off what materials for what kind of weapon it is as well.
Mm-hmm. I love this. They should have done that. Like, it makes me sad. It's like,
Yeah.
maybe they needed a reason to keep going back to the Great Fairies, but I think they should have been used similar to Ocarina of Time.
Where you get like a new ability,
Yeah.
or I like Wind
Or
Waker's
strengthen
approach to
other
Great Fairies,
abilities.
where you get, when you find the Great Fairy, they extend something. So like the one extends your magic meter, and then the other one extends the amount of bombs you can carry.
Yeah,
So
that would
obviously
have been
like
cool.
that, those things aren't an issue in Breath of the Wild, but a similar thing that's actually applicable to the game.
Like, well, they could have, like, but still, I would have loved. I was gonna say they could have extended the arrows you could get, but then they'd have to put a cap on the arrows you could carry at the very beginning, like only carry 30 arrows as opposed to carrying. How much was it?
It's 999.
Yeah. So
I've maxed it out.
instead of carrying 1,000 from the very beginning, just carry like 30 or 50. But then it's like, instead of going to the Great Fairy, I would have loved to go to an actual archer. Like, you find someone,
like an archery shop, and you can buy a quiver.
yeah, or like you find someone who's just really good at shooting bow and arrows, or shooting arrows, like Rivali, but it's a Hylian or someone.
Or there's
one in different
course.
races.
There's a horseback archery course in the game, and if the reward for that was actually like a bigger
like
quiver or something,
the Gerudo archery course.
Yeah,
And Ocarina of Time.
it's similar to that though. It's in like, but it is run by a Hylian guy.
Wait, there's one already in the game? Horseback archery?
Yeah.
I've never seen this.
What? No,
I have never seen this.
Really?
I've even looked through the official walkthrough guide. I've never seen it in there either.
I've done it. It's hard though, because it's timed, and you have to like.
This
really
is,
never.
what?
It's kind of. I think it's close to like Laurelin Village. No. It's like in the middle south, like straight south. The middle.
So what's south is like the Faron Wood region.
Yeah, so it's like west of that, and
But
there's
then
some areas
east
where the.
of the Gerudo.
I gotta like find it on the map for you and like show you.
I've never. I don't think so. Like, as much as I've played Breath of the Wild, which is a lot, my little brother has played like 3 times as much as I have, and I don't think he's ever mentioned it either. Like, maybe I can show it to him and be like, yeah, I already know about this, you idiot.
That's where it is. It's like close to Lake Hylia. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna find a thing for it.
Alright, so RPG asks, what's your favorite ruined location in Breath of the Wild? I would say Lon Lon Ranch or Hyrule Castle, because Lon Lon Ranch is a direct. It's like they literally pulled it from Ocarina of Time.
Yeah.
But I would have still loved to explore a non-ruined Hyrule Castle town.
Me too. Yeah. You know what? Actually, I don't want this to be a cop-out, but the Great Plateau, there's the Ruined Temple of Time, and there's what is many people theorize to be the old castle town from Ocarina of Time. Because the layout is like the same, basically. And it's right next to Temple of Time, so it makes sense that there'd be all these ruins there, that's probably the old castle town, and that they rebuilt the new castle town elsewhere to be the castle town that we see in Twilight Princess and Breath of the Wild. So, I don't know, I really like that area. I don't know, it's like there's a lot of subtext in that area.
So,
you do know what I mean? So?
I'm trying to think. The castle was never ruined. I was thinking like a reason they would have moved it. And it's like if the castle itself was destroyed, that would be... It might be easier to build a new one instead of rebuilding.
Yeah. So in
Ocarina of Time,
is,
Twilight Princess doesn't really have a destroyed thing.
No.
And it could have happened 10,000 years ago, the war with Ganon, where they originally built the Divine Beasts. That could have been when they built the new Hyrule Castle.
Yeah. My theory was, well, I mean, obviously, there's my Dragon Break theory, so if all of the timelines did happen, then it makes sense, but I'm sure that the Castle Town in Twilight Princess and Breath of the Wild is the same one. It's too similar, and it's in geographically the same area, and it feels like that Castle Town, because of where the Temple of Time is in Twilight Princess as well, there's ruins around that. Also, it makes sense for that to be ruined Castle Town. So it feels
ruined Castle Town.
Probably, yeah. So it just, I don't know. It feels very like connected to me, but it feels like the ruins in the Great Plateau tell like its own sort of story, and it feels very melancholic and very atmospheric. It's one of the best parts of the game, honestly, is the Great Plateau. I love the whole game, but I feel like the plateau is like one of the best parts of the game.
Yeah, it seems like it had the most focus.
Yes, yeah, so.
Because you're there for like the first 3 hours.
That's like, talk about hell of a good impression for a game, is the Great Plateau nailed that, so. Yes.
Alright,
that's my favorite.
I guess we can do 2 more questions. So really quickly here, Rabbit23 GSO, what do you want in Breath of the Wild 2? Breath of the Wild ended as if there was going to be a follow-up in the DLC. They could be waiting to do a follow-up for a sequel instead of the DLC.
Right.
I don't know. Like, it left off as if you could fit that story. Like, oh, we're going to go check out this Divine Beast. That would be a good DLC story. Like a good few hours.
Yeah.
But basing a whole game starting off on that, I don't know. Unless, like, 2 starts and it's like, as soon as it begins, it takes place like 6 months after fixing whatever was wrong with the Divine Beasts. And now it's like, we're going to a new land. So I don't... I think the next big Zelda game, although we're going to have several Zelda games before that, is going to be literally like the Majora's Mask version of Breath of the Wild. Probably not go back to Termina, because Nintendo's never returned to a new area.
No.
Like, we've never went back to Termina, we've never went back to Lorule, which Lorule's new, but we never went back to the Dark World, we never went back to the Silent Realm from Skyward Sword that had the big scary guys that chased you.
Yikes.
We never went back to Koholint Island. We never went back to Holodrum or Lenarium.
Mm-hmm.
We never went back to the world
Any
of
of
the Minish. Yeah, like none of the other
Yeah.
worlds. We've never went back to any of them. So, but I do think like at the edge of Hyrule, like especially towards the north, there was a completely new area that has like there's videos of people that like hacked the game to get there, and you can see like houses and stuff that were built. I guess that way, if you zoom in from really far away, it doesn't look completely barren. But it's not fleshed out. I think in the second, if it is Breath of the Wild 2, it'll just be exploring like the neighboring land, which is going to be interesting. Because we don't know what that is. The neighboring land could be Termina. It could be any of these other areas. Or he could go to like another like Dream World-esque place. Yeah. So
Yes.
I would love to see them explain it. Like Link doesn't just go on another new adventure. Like in Majora's Mask, he leaves to go find something or find Navi and whatever. I hope it's like another land from like really far away comes and is like, we've heard tales of a hero from Hyrule. We need your help in our land. So a reason for Link to go there other than just getting lost.
Yeah.
But that's what I would like to see. And bring back
the
traditional
Oracle games,
dungeons.
They kind of do it where
He's just kidnapped.
he's like, no, isn't he like he goes to touch the Triforce?
I thought
He's like called to
the
Triforce.
goddesses or the oracles just kidnap him.
Oh no,
Like-
I thought it was like in the beginning he goes to Hyrule Castle, Triforce is there, and it kind of is calling out to him, and then he touches it, and they transports him to where he's needed to be. And that's what I'm pretty sure. Someone in the chat back me up here. I'm pretty sure that's.
I mean,
how
that
it's,
probably is. I just
that's
always
how it
had the
starts.
idea that the oracles were just like, oh, we need the hero. So they like just warp him there, and he's like, what's going on?
Could be. I haven't played the Oracle games, but I'm pretty sure that's how they, the way that they go.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. What else would you like to see?
In the next one is gloves.
Gloves.
Yeah, you equip the gloves.
And then
and they're
you
like
can dig.
Extra grip gloves,
And then you can
you
climb on
climb
water
during
walls.
during the rain.
Okay. No, like story-wise.
Okay, story-wise. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I want something not Ganon. I'd love to see a villain like Vati return, but that's not gonna happen because that's Capcom's whole deal. But it would be cool to see like a new villain, and one that's not a cop-out villain like Twilight Princess, where it's kind of a new villain, but then it's actually Ganondorf all along. So not that. Like a good new villain, and in a different land that's not Hyrule. That's other than that, I have very open expectations. Like nothing really set in stone in my head. So.
All right. Well, take us to our next question, Daniel. I want a Nintendo Labo fishing minigame tie-in.
As a tie.
Yeah. Be like, oh, it has a fishing minigame, but the only way to play it is to buy this $60 cardboard.
Of course. That's a good peripheral, right? Yes. Do we have any new questions? I'm gonna check out the old Discord. And...
Alright, I'm actually going to post something in Discord saying we're going to take our final question from Discord.
Oh, sure.
So,
unless someone posts in the chat real fast a good question.
No, this will be a new one. So, like, we'll do the question you pick, and then we'll both decide on the very final question.
Okay.
Everyone, we are taking our final question. Whoever puts the best question in the Hylian Gamescast and tags us.
Yes. Do it. Or don't, if you don't want to, I guess. Yes. I think there was some other. I think there was a question on one of the other videos, previous episode, that I wanted to do, but I should have saved it.
Oh yeah, I didn't check the questions on the last video.
I didn't, and now I don't know what that is that I was looking at before.
You don't know which video?
I don't remember. I'm terrible.
People in the chat says, yeah, a new villain would be amazing. Don't think we've had an overarching one since Spirit Tracks, unless you count Triforce Heroes. I don't count Triforce Heroes.
Not really, no.
Like Majora's Mask has the moon falling, all of Termin is getting destroyed, Hyrule's always being taken over by Ganondorf, but Triforce Heroes, the princess is cursed to wear an ugly outfit. Very, very...
Let's say low stakes.
Yeah. It's like, why don't you just take it off? Or like, put something on over it.
You can't.
You could put something on over it. Couldn't you? It's not like it's going to disappear.
I guess that's true. Yeah, it could be like your tights, like your long underwear. In the Discord, Xenotrigger asked, "What do you think will be at E3 for Nintendo?"
Oh, we answered that earlier.
Rewind. We started. So rewind. Go back. We talked about it in detail.
Yeah, we had a full discussion on that.
Yeah.
On Nintendo's actual plans and what we think is going to happen. So our final question, take it from Champion of Morrowind, since he's always so nice, unless you can find the question that you're looking for.
Champion of Morrowind. No, I can't. So,
okay.
I looked through like 6 videos. I didn't. So, do you think the Zelda series should have a darker tone, or should it remain with the more light-hearted tone? That is actually a good question. I enjoy both, to be honest. I liked... Like, Majora's Mask is one of my favorite Zelda games, and it had a very dark tone. Then my next favorite Zelda game, like, other than that, would be, like, Wind Waker, which doesn't very much have a dark tone. So, like, Twilight Princess, I think it was like, oh, it's so dark and edgy. But it was a little too, like, they're pushing too hard almost for that, and it didn't come out as authentic as it did in Majora's Mask.
Mm-hmm.
So... like, if they do it right, then absolutely I'm game for it. But
someone commented on the video, the theory that went up yesterday, with an article from when Twilight Princess first came out. That was an interview with Aonuma, and he said that they were going to have all of the same events that happened in Twilight Princess were always going to happen, but the world was going to be much smaller. But then they said that it didn't make sense for so much stuff to happen in such a small area. So they ended up making it the size that it is. And then they said that there's a lot of other stuff in there, but the two most important things that I seen was, they said the realistic art style pushed them to have the darker story. So it wasn't just... like, originally it was going to be as lighthearted as Wind Waker.
Right.
But after the story came together, the original story came together with the art style, they said it didn't feel right. So they went with the darker story to match the overall art style.
Nice.
So...
but the thing with Wind Waker is the tone doesn't feel dark, but, like, the game has a lot of subtext that is very dark.
Yeah.
But it's all subtext.
It has the most violent ending.
It really does. And, like, Ganondorf as a character is the most interesting he's ever been in Wind Waker, I think.
Yeah.
Just as a compelling villain.
He actually gives a story.
Yes, and he, like, his whole, like, attachment to Hyrule, and the dungeon, like Ganon's Tower in Hyrule, is like a very dark tone. There's the Earth Temple is very dark as well. Not just because there's dead people everywhere, but also just like there's a lot of implications. The sages kind of come out like they were straight up. Xenotrigger, as I'm saying this in the chat, is coming up. Ganon straight up murders 2 sages in Wind Waker. So there's a lot of urgency as well. Like with the King of Red Lions, like there's a lot. Also, the whole backstory being that like the kingdom was absolutely destroyed and flooded, like just as backstory for the game. Like it's very dark subtext, even though the overall tone feels very light. Breath of the Wild has some dark moments too that feel like the fact that everyone died 100 years ago, all your friends are dead. That's a pretty dark subtext as well.
Yeah.
So, done right, I really like the dark tones in Zelda. But when they're like, we have to make this dark, and it comes out like, I like Twilight Princess is a good game, but if there were times where they were like, we have to make it dark, so it's going to be so dark.
Yeah.
And it didn't feel very authentic to me.
Alright,
So
here's what I'm saying. I want a more light-hearted game because I don't want Hyrule that's already destroyed.
Right.
Unless they do it like Termina or Majora's Mask, to where the dark tone's there but nothing's destroyed. In Twilight Princess, it forced you to go around in the Twilight Realm as Wolf Link, which got annoying after the first time. To where like you couldn't, like, I want to play as Link, not a wolf.
I didn't want to be a wolf.
So like every time you were in a dungeon, you're like, oh, I gotta change into a wolf, like the Arbiter's Grounds. It was annoying. But like I always look at it as it's just the one game, so it's not that bad. Like out of 35 years of games, it's okay if it's just the one game, or 30 years, whatever. So
30.
Yeah, I would like it to be a good mix of both, to where maybe it starts out, everything is peaceful and stuff, but someone's trying to take over, and then it gets to a point, because there's always the big change in the Zelda games, like Ocarina of Time had you turn into an adult.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I would want.
That game too.
Yeah, so that's what I would want, is similar to Ocarina of Time. Like in Twilight Princess, you gather all of the stuff, and then Zant comes when you're talking to Lineru and just like takes it from you or something.
Yeah,
after you
that's a good
already
moment.
Gathered it. Ocarina of Time has you gather the spiritual stones, and then Ganondorf just touches the Triforce before you. Skyward Sword has you think you're about to rescue Zelda, but then like something happens and you have to like go back around to all three areas again. So there's stuff that happens in every Zelda game, like A Link to the Past and A Link Between Worlds take you to Lorule and the Dark World. So there's always the thing that happens in the middle of the game that's like the big plot twist. I want it something like, I want the plot twist to be the game gets darker.
Yeah.
Like, I want that to be the plot twist, like Ocarina of Time, to where you see the way everything looks, the way it's supposed to be, and you play through half the game, and everything's fine. You think you're about to win, but then something goes horribly wrong, and that's the plot twist.
Yeah.
And suddenly everything is destroyed. And then this is where they can add in the time travel, because I'm always a fan of time travel. Have you travel back in time to before the bad stuff happens. So like the bad stuff that happens is really horrible stuff. It's not just like Hylia being dried up like an Ocarina of Time, or the Goron's about to be fed to Volvigia. Like the bad stuff that happens is super bad. So it's like the king dies. Zelda, maybe she dies. Who knows? The King Zora dies. Like whether like half of them can die and then the other half can just like be seriously injured. So then it's like you have to travel back in time to stop these each individual events from happening. So you'd have to go back in time and like stop Ganondorf as he's about to kill King Zora. Or stop the monster as it's about to kill King Zora. So that would be mine. That way you get the dark moments, but you also get to save them. So you get to see what everything looks like as it's meant to be, which is what we didn't get in Breath of the Wild. Like we did get to see it, but we didn't get to explore. And then,
no, I really wanted to.
So instead of having everything destroyed from the very beginning, have everything peaceful or whatever. sort of like Majora's Mask sort of did this, to where like the Goron place was completely covered in ice, but then once you saved it, it was spring. So it's like you get to see everything as it was destroyed, but then you get to see everything the way it's meant to be. And the other areas are kind of like this as well. Icona Valley you call is the stream or the river, whatever, to flow again. So there's all this stuff that's really cool. And then they could do it by implementing the time system. Instead of having the 3-day cycle, have the full 7-day cycle. And that's how it, that way you can keep doing. I don't know. I'm done. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, it's good. I was listening.
It's all too much. I need to sit down and think about this, and then I can come back.
You need to call up your good friend Miyamoto and send him a text. Say, hey man,
Miyamoto,
I got an idea.
No. So my final question. You can ask one too, but I thought of this. If you could pick. I was gonna have the question be if you could pick any system to put another Zelda game on that was in that style. So like if you pick the N64, what would be a third N64 style Zelda game that you would want? Or if it's GameCube, if you could pick a third, not counting Four Swords, if you could pick like a Wind Waker or Twilight Princess-esque game, or even on the Wii and have it like maybe a tie-in to Skyward Sword, like which would you pick? But my full question that I'm going to change it to, I'm going to default to the Nintendo 64. If you could have a third Hero of Time game, because this ties in to the theory that we did in the discussion that we did earlier, what would it be? Would it be Link going to another village or like another world, another area, another location? Would he be going back to Hyrule? Would he be back in Termina? What would it be, and what would the story be? Because Ganondorf, so taking nothing from the theory that we did, so you can't use any of the stuff in that theory, just create your own thing.
Okay.
So Ganondorf is dealt with, presumably. He's sealed in the Twilight Realm. Majora's Mask is stopped. But there's a new enemy. Who's the enemy? What type of enemy is it? Is it Vaddie? Is it someone else that we don't know of?
Okay. So, I think there would be a lot of political conflict after the resolution of Ganondorf's trial, and he's sent to the Twilight Realm. So he's the king of Gerudo, right?
Yeah.
So the Hylians are like, what the hell? The Gerudo king is planning this coup. He's trying to overthrow the Hylian monarchy. That's pretty much an act of war. So the conflict becomes this conflict between the Hylians want to basically wage war on the Gerudo. The Gerudo really did nothing. It was actually just completely Ganondorf. So
they locked up the perverted carpenters, and that was it.
Yeah, that's.
But that doesn't happen in the adult.
No, that
doesn't
happen in the child timeline even. So they've just stayed in their own territory. They haven't really done anything. They've just they're in a bad spot because Ganondorf acted on his own, and they're now basically at fault for this because he was their leader, right?
Yeah.
So Link kind of has to.
I thought of something very obvious with the Gerudo.
Go on. What did you think of, Jesse?
No, I'm going to see if you come up with it in your story.
Okay. Well, my thought was then
I'm going to eat a potato
Link
chip.
has to sort of calm the conflict between these two. Now there are people who I think take the Gerudo side. They're saying, hey, we shouldn't go to war with the Gerudo. This was just Ganondorf. They've done nothing wrong. And then there's this divide in Hyrule.
Mm-hmm.
So possibly the Zora have always been well aligned in Ocarina of Time with the Hylians. So they go to take the Hylian side. Maybe the Gorons take the Gerudo side because they think this act of initiating war is bad, and Darunia is already peeved because a little kid was insulted by a little kid who made him dance instead of having a real royal messenger sent to him previously. And there's a divide now, and Link has to help all the different races to realign all of these and sort of bring the peace back. So in a sense, the King of Hyrule is almost the bad guy, but you don't like kill him in the end. You just have to sort of reunite everybody and just stop the conflict that's happening and growing in Hyrule. I just think that feels like what would happen, and so I can see Link playing a part in keeping the peace as opposed to just being a knight and going and killing all the Gerudo. So that's my thought.
Alright, here's my obvious thing. So all of the adult bosses.
Yes. They're not dead.
Nope. Phantom Ganon never exists.
Right.
Valvegia never brought back. Bongo Bongo may or may not have still broken out. We don't know.
Right.
Morpha was never created. Yeah.
Twinrova.
But yes, Twinrova was already going about her plans as Child Link because she kidnaps Nabooru, turns her into the Iron Knuckle.
Yeah.
So you still have Nabooru, or not Nabooru, but Twinrova to worry about.
That's a good point. So,
and you need the Mirror Shield to stop her.
Yeah.
But to get to the desert, Link needs the boots. No. I guess because Gabor. Well, no, to get to to get through the desert, you need the hover boots.
Oh, to get from to cross the desert.
Yeah, or the long shot.
Yes.
I think you can use either.
You can warp as well.
But you need the boots to learn the song. Zelda sends you back in time, and you don't know, presumably, these songs. But Gabora could still fly you there because he is there.
You'd know, Link would keep his memory, so he'd know the songs.
But he has to relearn the Song of Time.
That's just gameplay over story. That's just... I assume he remembered the Song of Time.
Even without the song.
Right.
Gabora could still fly you there because you do meet the owl.
That's true. And Link could probably get a new item set. We know he could get a hook shot, right? As young Link, because he got one in Termina. So my thought is probably fresh new item set and limit. So Hyrule Field would be the same, but new areas are now open gameplay wise.
Was Twinrova in the Oracle games?
Yes, they were kind of instigating behind the scenes to revive Ganon in the Oracle games. I believe is what they were going about doing.
Yeah. Yeah. An Oracle of Ages, Oracle of Seasons, Kome and Katake, or whatever.
Yeah.
Send Viren and General Onyx to cause chaos and light two of the three flames to resurrect Ganon. Yeah, so...
Yes.
Presumably, if there was a third Hero of Time game, it would most likely have to do with Link stopping Twinrova.
Yes, because they show up in the Downfall timeline because they weren't dealt with, I guess. And they are dead in the adult timeline, so they don't show up. And in the child timeline,
and it doesn't
not dealt with, so
it doesn't specify that it is a new Twinrova.
Right.
So,
and they're not the same as the Majora's Mask May Tatake. Different than Rova.
Yeah, and even if they do die,
Yeah.
so even if they do die, Ganondorf is always brought back or resurrected. So
Mhm.
it could be a thing to where Twin Rova is also resurrected.
Yes. True. So yeah, there's a lot of possibilities there on that.
Yeah, and it would make sense for them to still be alive because it says, in Ocarina of Time, Kome and Katake are a pair of 400-year-old twin witches.
Hmm.
So they're already 400 years old, which presumably means they could live for a lot longer.
Right.
So
Yeah, I think they mentioned their age in when you sort of kill them. They mentioned that how old they are. Like, I'm too young to die. I'm only 400 years old or something along those lines. And then the other one lies about their age, saying, "Yeah, and I'm only this old."
That's
like,
crazy.
"You're not younger than me. We're twins." So.
I don't remember that. That's so crazy, though.
Oh, they start arguing and.
I assumed they were just close to like 100.
No, they're old.
Surrogate mothers of Ganondorf.
Yes, so not biological mothers. Who would be the biological mother?
Maybe
Who knows?
individually, because I always assumed individually they were
Mm-hmm.
not the mother, but together, like when they combine, they are. Like that is the mother.
The mother is their combined form.
Yeah. That's what I always...
She becomes the younger woman somehow.
Yeah, because if they're 400 years old, they're way past, like, having a baby. Like, they're way past menopause.
For humans, but
Gerudo.
we don't know if it's the same for Gerudo, right?
Yeah. That's a weird topic. All right. Daniel, what is your final question? Because we never ask each other the questions. So,
That's true, we don't.
so this is going to end it
Okay.
with my potato chips.
I didn't think of one. I should have thought of one. I was thinking too hard about
Losing Limo
this
says nature
year.
finds a way.
Nature finds a way. Ain't that the truth? Okay, here's a thought for you. Whenever people talk about the timeline and the events of Ganondorf being sealed away,
Mm-hmm.
someone brings up his beard. Do you think that that is actually compelling evidence that years have gone by? Or is it not possible to just grow a beard in a matter of days?
Wait, what are you talking about?
It's just something I always find funny is in theory discussions when people talk about Twilight Princess, Ganondorf's execution, right?
Okay.
They say, no, it can't have been right after Ocarina of Time because he has a beard. So he had to have grown it.
Mm-hmm.
So, what do you think about that evidence?
Two things. One, I don't think he was immediately taken care of.
But like not same day, obviously.
Yeah, like
These things take
it could
time.
have at
Probably
least been
held
like a
trial
few
and-
months later.
Mhm. Mhm.
So he would have had more than enough time to grow within the few months. But with the theory that we ended up with on the last one, it suggests that Link as an adult fought Ganondorf again. So maybe he was sealed and he broke out just as he does from the Sage's seal. Oh, so this is another thing. Put my chips down. So at the end of Ocarina of Time, he is sealed by the Sages and Zelda, and he still breaks out from that seal. And the child timeline, when he is sealed again, maybe he's just like he's sealed, but it's much weaker because there are none of the Sages. Excuse me. There are. Zelda doesn't have her full power as she does in the adult timeline. So the seal is much weaker. So Ganondorf breaks out much faster. And then Link has to fight him again, which is the third quest that the theory suggests when Link fights him. Or maybe they don't seal him and they just lock him up inside Arbiter's Grounds.
Oh, maybe.
Like maybe Arbiter's Grounds, because it doesn't exist in Ocarina of Time, is built specifically for Ganondorf.
Yes.
And he breaks out of there, or he's just held there for his trial or something, but I imagine he would break out. And then adult Link. Because even in the real world, if you get a death sentence, it takes a long time. To get, like, you don't just get sentenced to death and then like a week later.
Yeah.
Like, it takes time in real life as well. So maybe he breaks out. That's the final battle that's depicted in the artwork and everything from Breath of the Wild, because you still need time for Ganondorf to gain possession of the Triforce of Power.
True.
Because in the child timeline, he wouldn't have it. But he does when he's being sealed to the Twilight Realm. Depending on where Link gets sent back in time to. If some people think it's like right after the events of the child timeline happens, and some think it's as soon as he meets Zelda, he's taken back to that moment. Which could be why, like, they could be playing on that, and that's why Link or Zelda says, like, I feel like I've known you or whatever for a long time. Because maybe, like, it's some time paradox there.
When you're sent back in time, you will be sent back with whatever, like, that cutscene is rendered in game, right? And so, whatever you had equipped as young Link, when you last were playing as young Link, that's what you'll have equipped when you're sent back in time. So if you have the Deku Shield, it'll cut back, that cutscene will show Link with the Deku Shield. If you have the Hylian Shield, it'll show him with the Hylian Shield.
Interesting.
So, do you think it's at the, like, sent back to after he's opened the door, and like after the events of all the child stuff that happened in Ocarina of Time?
Well, I guess it would have to be in that sense.
Yeah. Or do you think it's just a quirk of the game design and it's not what they meant? Because that's
I think it would have to be like the adult, like after he gets the stuff. Because then that would also make sense for how Ganondorf has the Triforce of Power. So presumably he's already finished all of the events.
Yes. No, true. Like, and it just like it's a minor detail, because really the only thing that you can change differently is the shield.
But then Zelda's still in the castle.
That's true.
She shouldn't be in the castle.
If she fled already.
But she still is in the castle if you go and visit her, even though the scene shows her fleeing.
Wait, actually, I guess I've never done it. So you can sneak back in and she'll be in there?
I think so.
Oh my goodness, I have to test this out. I have to test this. I wasn't sure if you can even... I don't even know if you can actually get back in there by legitimate means.
Because I used to do it for fun.
You just
on
go
the
back
N64, yeah, I like just go through the puzzles again.
Really?
Mm-hmm. After you get to the 3 spiritual stones, I think you can still do it.
You're blowing my mind. That's where she went into hiding for 7 years, and Ganondorf just never thought to look there. He's like, she fled the castle. I gotta look somewhere outside the castle. She actually just like goes back into the castle and hides in there. He just never checks.
Yeah, so that's a confusing question. But yeah, going back to his beard, either time in prison grew it out while he was in the Arbiter's Grounds awaiting trial, or they weren't able, like they sealed him and then a few months passed or something, or a few months passed and he wasn't sealed. Either way, I don't think he was put in the Twilight Realm like as soon as Ocarina of Time ended. Because if you're talking about his beard, like if that's what people are worried about, they need to worry about why he looks so different in any other aspect
Yeah, like different
Like,
clothes.
why is he more muscular? Did he just go to the gym between Ocarina of Time and that cutscene? Or with the Triforce of Power, he just willed his beard to grow.
He just forced it out.
Yeah, he used his dwarf blood.
Yeah. No, it's really funny though. Some people really hold on to that as evidence, and I just thought that would be a funny way to have our last question.
Yeah. All right. Well, everyone, thank you for joining us on this podcast, submitting your questions. Please go check out the theory video that we did.
Yes.
A lot of work went into it from myself. Daniel went and recorded some much needed footage. Ilya, Larulian, all the other people who had a part in creating it. Thank you all. Please go check it out. Please watch our other podcasts so you can catch up on all of the great discussions. And if you want to have your question guaranteed to be on the podcast, patreon.com/GameOverJesse, where you can help all of us out. Any last words, Daniel?
Hasta la vista, baby. No, I've got nothing else to add.
Alright, well, with that, bye guys.